don't want to be. What's that? Well, that's probably from the last meeting.
To go into the public hearing, do we need to do a roll call vote, or is that voice?
Public
No,
hearing, yeah.
actually, you just call it.
You
I
saved
just-
something.
You just call. We're going
must have extra-
we're gonna
look at the
open the
date on
public
that.
hearing at, they're gonna make their comments, and then you're gonna close it.
Oh, mine is 11:25.
That's what we did last year, and
Just to make sure.
I'm glad you did, 'cause I always forget.
I didn't get it.
You know, it's like we do it not regularly, but routinely enough that like I should remember.
no.
Ryan, when do you want me to, and Ray can share too, our information from the Clinton County.
Want to do a public comment? Or not public comment, sorry.
Board
Is it
member
board
comments?
comment?
Okay. That's where we found out that they're canceling.
Well, then you go recycle your own stuff, because they'll probably keep putting it back in your box.
Hey, I'm burning wood now. I can burn this stuff.
Where's your?
Oh, I have the coolest system. I got it's in the basement. It's called a caddy add-on. Maybe it's a caddy add-on. So
Sarah.
here's the gas burner.
Are you here to talk?
And then the vents go to this, and there's 4 thermostats.
We have 3 thermostats, yeah.
So it calls for the
We've had that
blower.
for 20 years.
And mine's are about 10 or 12. So it calls for the blower to blow, and it uses the same vent system. It's really. Oh, I can keep one load if I go away from home when the negative 0 degrees, howling wind, and the house lost 8 degrees. 24 hours. It's in the outside. It's
Good evening. We're going to call this meeting to order. This is the Bath Township Board meeting for Monday, December 1st. Happy December, folks. Welcome to the meeting, and we'll do a roll call.
Mr. Fuensplus,
I'm here.
Ms. Butler Challenger here, Ms. Wilson.
Here.
Ms. Hagerman,
here.
Ms. Kellerman,
Here.
Mr. Cockey.
Here.
Mr. Rosecrans absent this evening.
Next up on the agenda is civic reflection. We'll start with the Pledge of Allegiance and end with a moment of silence. So please stand if you are able to join us for the pledge.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. And now a moment of silence. Thank you. I heard baby voices during that moment of silence.
It was just your conscience.
Item 3 on our agenda tonight is approval of the agenda. If you are joining us in the audience, there are extra agendas up on the lectern. If you'd like to follow along, you can also watch it on the screen. I do have 2 changes to propose to my colleagues tonight, adding a B under item 6 for Mike Brown from the NTSB, and adding a C right after that for Sarah Ricks from Bath Township Public Library. Does anyone else have anything they'd like to propose to change?
What was B again, please?
Mike Brown from NTSB.
Okay.
If there's no other changes, I would ask for a motion with those changes in it, please.
I'll make that motion.
I'll second it.
So the motion is to approve the agenda as amended, and it's been seconded. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, we'll take a voice vote. All those in favor of approving the agenda as amended tonight, please say aye. Aye. Any opposed? All right, that motion carries. Thank you. That brings us to item 4, disclosures of conflicts of interest. Does anyone have a conflict they'd like to disclose today? All right. Conflict-free again. Item 5 is public statement 1. This is an opportunity for those in the audience to make a statement to the board. It's limited to 3 minutes, and it's designated only for items that are on the agenda tonight. There's a second opportunity at the end of the meeting where the public can have an additional 3 minutes and can talk to us about any other township business that they would like. Is there anyone in the audience who'd like to make a public statement? Seeing none, we will move on. Item 6 is items from county, state, federal, and other agencies, and I'm very happy that we have 3 folks here to make some presentations. We'll start with Anna Kuhl from the governor's office. Thanks for joining us in Bath Township.
Thanks for having me. Let me know if you can hear me, or if this works.
Maybe it's not on.
Is it?
It's on.
It's on, okay. Am I close enough? I'm always bad with mics. Okay, okay.
Yeah, and we'll have our folks come on in. This is to you, not to us.
So line up. Go over there. Go near her. Keep going. It's Yeah, stand behind her.
Anna has told me she does not bite. You all look so good tonight.
Lane's for you.
It's nice you dressed up for us tonight. It's nice you dressed up for us tonight.
That's why he's not coming in.
Yeah, smart move.
Well, good evening. Like the supervisor mentioned, my name is Anna Kuhl. I am a community engagement specialist with the governor's office. It's a privilege to be there we go. Every time.
Hey, it works.
That was a drop the mic moment.
She didn't even touch it. She said to, they don't like her.
Okay, all right. Anyway, it's a privilege to be here on behalf of the governor's office to commemorate your service and to thank you all for everything you've done and your display of dedication and bravery on October 16th. They send their regrets, both the governor and lieutenant governor, but I do have a video from the lieutenant governor that I just wanted to show really quickly before presenting this tribute. So, thank you, Taylor.
I don't know how loud this is about to be, so brace yourself.
Nope, no problem.
Not loud at all.
Well, it's got closed captions. It's all right.
You can read it. Taylor's trying.
Do you want some time, Taylor?
I might have to hardwire in, so give me a second.
All right. Please continue, and we will show the video as soon as it is ready.
Sure. So in the meantime, I just wanted to read off a bit from the special tribute. I feel like I should reorient myself.
There you go.
So let it be known that we extend our deepest gratitude to the Bath Township Fire Department and Police Department for their quick response to the plane crash on October 16, 2025. Their coordinated efforts of first responders across Bath Township provided critical support in response to this emergency, and we are proud to recognize the bravery and dedication to duty demonstrated. The Bath Township Fire Department and Police Department answered the call to serve our state without hesitation or fear. The crash site was a harrowing scene on difficult terrain, requiring first responders to adapt quickly in order to get to the victims. We offer our condolences for the 3 lives this accident claimed, and our deepest respect for the first responders who answered the call. We recognize the dedicated efforts of Fire Chief Mike Kunter and Police Chief Matt Mardigan for their crucial leadership in this time of need, and their team's selfless service, and it is a testament to their bravery and commitment to our state. The bravery of Bath Township Fire Department and Police Department in response to this emergency will long be remembered. The partnership of agencies across Bath Township demonstrated the incredible strength in working together to protect our community. The entire state of Michigan expresses our profound gratitude to the Bath Township Fire Department and for their service. In special tribute, therefore, this document is signed and dedicated to thanking the Bath Township Fire Department, Fire Chief Mike Kunter, Chief of Police Matt Mardigan, and Police Department of Bath Township for their bravery in responding to this crisis. We extend our gratitude for the bravery of the first responders who answered the call and continue to serve and protect their community. Thank you.
To the women and men of the Township Fire Department and Bath Township Police, thank you. I wish I was standing there with you today, but I did not want to miss the chance to tell you how much your service means to this state. On October 16th, you faced a scene that no first responder ever wants to face. You went into difficult terrain. You pushed through fire, debris, and danger. You stayed on that scene long after the headlines moved on. And when another call came again, barely an hour later, you answered, still covered in jet fuel, still carrying the weight of what you just witnessed, but you did not hesitate. That is courage. Chief Mark Kunter and Chief Matt Mardigan, your leadership guided your teams through one of the most difficult days any department can face. And to every firefighter and first responder who responded that night, your strength, your skill, and your heart honored the people we lost and protected the community that you serve. I know these moments stay with you, and I want you to know that the people of Michigan, everywhere, we see you. Thank you for your service. Thank you for your sacrifice. And thank you for showing us what it truly means to answer the call. Stay safe, stay strong, stand tall, and know that the entire state of Michigan stands tall with you. God bless.
Thanks, Taylor. Thank you, Anna, for coming on behalf of the governor's office. I appreciate that the governor's office reached out to me. It is incredibly kind and appropriate that you reached out to make sure we were doing well and okay, and to recognize our folks who are true heroes in our community. I appreciate the support and appreciate the support of the Lieutenant Governor and, of course, Governor Whitmer. So thank you for joining us today. I know, do you have anything else you want to share, Anna?
Just wanted to say thank you again for having me, and thank you all for your time and service.
Well, you are always welcome in Bath Township. We also have another presentation from the NTSB concerning our folks. So do you want to do that, and then we can get pictures all together? Does that sound okay, Taylor?
Is that what you want to do?
Yeah.
So I don't have a fancy video, but, so the NTSB, a lot of people know the letters, but what do we really do? We're a small independent federal agency. We're charged by Congress to investigate basically aviation accidents, marine, rail, hazmat, pipeline. We're small, there's like 400 people total, but we're mighty in that we can make recommendations to prevent anything like this from happening again. A lot of times aviation folks, when we go on site like we did, we talk to people like you. Millicent is the investigator in charge. She can't be here because she's from Alaska. She came all the way down for that. But she said this was one of the best responses she's ever had. From the time that I got on scene Friday morning, what do you need? What can we do to help? Police chief, fire chief, everybody the whole time, hey, what can we do to help? So I'm gonna read a letter that Millicent wrote, addressed to you, just brought everybody here. And then we have challenge coins. We'll talk about those in a bit. So it's from the NTSB. It's addressed to you, Chief Kunter. This is from Millicent. I wanted to express my sincere thanks to all of you and draw attention to the outstanding on-scene and follow-up support that I received with regards to the airplane accident that took place on October 16, 2025. Thank you for the help and technical expertise you and your department provided to me and my team while working the on-scene portion of our investigation. Your immediate availability and your ability to mobilize your firefighters, officers, local colleagues,
and access allowed us to capture vital perishable evidence before anything was disturbed or lost. The work of your team allowed us to recover the wreckage from a challenging site and complete the entire examination of the airplane on scene. Your quick work and demonstrated ability saved my team and the taxpayer extraordinary time and expense, and helped make the on-site investigation much smoother and easier. It was truly an honor and privilege to work with such professionals. My appreciation for their willingness to work long hours with us cannot be explained adequately in a letter. When the board responds to an accident, we do not always know what type of support we'll receive on scene, but in this case, the overall hospitality and support we received from your department was without peer. Please thank each of the first responders for me, and I congratulate you on the professionalism and can-do attitude of your entire department. Please take care of yourself and each other, and remember your first job is to go home at the end of your shift. Sincerely, Millicent Hill. So with that, we also have their challenge coins. You guys have challenge coins in your department? Okay, so you know what they are. These are not provided by the agency. We buy these as investigators ourselves out of our own pocket for times like this. When we go on investigations in our launches and we meet people that really help us out, go above and beyond, we make sure we get those. So on one side of these coins, it's the NTSB logo, and on the other side is probably my favorite part. It says, "From tragedy, we draw knowledge to improve aviation safety." And I'd like to present, actually with your help and your help, sir, these to all of your staff. Do you want this? Please. Okay. I have 21 of these. So, first of all, I'll start with you. Thank you, sir. Appreciate it. Thank you, sir. Appreciate it. You guys want to start? Thank you, sir. Appreciate it. 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 Thank you, Sam. Appreciate it. Thank you, sir. 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 Appreciate it. Good.
One more.
You're good. He does. Is that it? Everybody get one? Hey, seriously, thanks. We really appreciate it. Like we said, we do these more often than we have to. I haven't done a lot. I'm an air traffic control investigator by trade, so I'm from Langsburg, though. So I said, get out there. You guys got to think about it. Thursday afternoon, 5:30 p.m. That thing went down in your backyards, and by Monday morning it was gone. So that's a testament to what you guys did that day. Got us out there. Pass cleared. Had traffic blocked off. Had the hunters. You know, that was a big deal. Hunters out there, so no, really appreciate you guys. Really appreciate it. That's all I have, sir.
Thank you, thank you. Taylor, would you like to get some photos? Do you want to take control of the situation? I know you do. Anna, we want you and the tribute in those two, if you don't mind.
That UPS.
I gotta turn it off. Who's next? I have to do that for you then.
It was.
See it? I bet you there's gonna be a big loss of treasure that those crashes. Because they were very jobs.
Screensaver and all these pictures.
Who's the gentleman?
Christmas challenge coins. if you're all out together and you don't have it, then you have to buy a round of drinks.
Oh. I've never heard of that before.
Oh, really? I think it originates in the military.
Okay.
But the
And then it just goes to the
yeah,
department.
and then the police sort of picked it up, and it's, yeah. Public safety thing.
Excuse me.
Somebody has to have their eyes open. Thank you. Oh, yeah, I didn't know you were in. Yeah. All right, go back.
Back where you were.
Are you okay with that one?
He's gonna like.
Going all the way to the back, don't listen.
All right, as you were.
Ben's doing that as tiptoes.
All right, there.
Thank you to Anna, and thank you to Mike for joining us and honoring our heroes tonight. We will hang the tribute up. Karen will take that in a place of honor. I imagine we'll frame the letter as well from Millicent. And Mike, thank you for your hard work, especially when the federal government was closed. That speaks high volumes of your integrity that you were still working. We appreciate it. Thank you, folks. Thanks, Anna.
Enjoy your evening.
Well, that was lovely. I continue to try to find ways that we can bring acclaim and honor to our heroes who have worked so hard on behalf of the township and the people. Being on scene that night, seeing them come out of the woods dirty and sweaty and hungry and thirsty, they just incredibly impressed me. So I want to make sure they are feeling the thanks from us and from around the state. I appreciate the Lieutenant Governor and Anna from the Governor's Office and Mike from NTSB. Much appreciated. I find it interesting and somewhat frustrating that we have national agencies and state agencies here to honor our folks. And I never even received a call from anyone at the county. I thought that was very interesting.
Serious?
That night. The county administrator, any county commissioners. I did call Dwight to make sure he knew what was going on, but I would have expected them to be the first call, but instead it was these folks. And so I really appreciate that they're here and honoring our heroes. So thanks for all of that. Last up on our list is number 6C, Sarah Ricks.
Thanks for having me. I don't think I have as much exciting as the other two. But
We have faith in you. You can.
okay, I should have brought my bag of glitter. That's really what. All right, so we have a lot of fun things coming up at the library. Tuesday, December 9th, we're teaming up with a few other members of our community to do the tree lighting. We'll have hot chocolate. Anna and Elsa will be there for photos. And we'll have crafts. And yeah, the tree will be lit up. The ukulele group will be back. The youth. They'll be there to do caroling and stuff like that too.
What time did you say that was?
It goes 6 to 8. So 6 to 7 is when we have the cookie decorating, Santa, Elsa and Anna, hot chocolate and stuff. 7 to 8, we'll have activities in James Cousins Memorial Park. The tree lighting will happen, and there'll be s'mores and caroling.
So people start at the library and then move to the park?
Nope, they start at the church next to the park, the United Methodist. Right.
That's where all the programming will be,
Yes.
and then go to the park? Okay,
Yep.
great. That
Yep.
sounds lovely.
And then also on December 23rd, there'll be a special Christmas story time for those that are here in Bath for the holidays. So I don't know if we'll have any special guests for it, but kids can come in and we'll do a nice Christmas-themed story time. We also have a few movies planned. So the Fridays in December, we'll have a movie at 5 o'clock at the library. They're Christmas-themed, holiday-themed movies. And then, yeah, we have most of our regularly scheduled programs happening. Our last Wine and Cheese Book Club is December 10th, and if it's your first time coming, that's awesome, because that's also when we do our book swap. So January's meetings when we read the next book, but the next book is whatever you swapped at the book club. And we'll also be closed December 24th, 25th, December 31st, and January 1st. So the rest of the time we're open for the month. I brought flyers for both the tree lighting and our calendar, so come see me if you want.
Thank you. Any questions for Sarah? Thanks for coming. I know you and your board brought some issues to my attention. I want to make sure you know we've talked to our attorneys about that, so I've got some answers for you. I didn't forget about you.
Okay, cool. It's good to know.
There were some things happening in the township, as you saw previously, that distracted us for a bit.
Really? All right, well, thank you.
Thanks, Sarah. We have no consent agenda tonight, so we'll move right to approval of minutes. We have minutes of the Board of Trustees meeting from November 17th, 2025. Anyone want to make a motion or have comments about the minutes?
Motion to approve the minutes as presented?
I'll second.
We have a motion and a second to approve the minutes as presented. Any discussion? All right, hearing none, we'll take a voice vote. All those in favor of approving the minutes of the Board of Trustees meeting of November 17th, 2025 as provided tonight, say aye. Aye. Any opposed? All right, that motion carries. Next up is the approval of vouchers. Does anyone want to make a motion to move that forward, or any discussion about the vouchers?
I'll make a motion to approve the vouchers.
Second?
We have a motion and a second to approve the vouchers. Is there any discussion? Seeing none, we'll take a roll call vote.
Ms. Hagerman?
Yes.
Ms. Kellerman?
Yes.
Mr. Kyke?
Yes.
Ms. Wilson?
Yes.
Mr. Funes Bliss?
Yes,
Ms. Butler Challenger, yes.
that motion carries. Next item on the agenda is Treasurer's Report, that we will not have one of those until January 20th, which feels a long way away, but actually is right around the corner. No committee appointments, number 11, and no Township Committee reports, number 12, which brings us to item 13, unfinished business, large A, items for introduction and discussion, of which we have none. 13, large B, items for action. Small a is the introduction and first reading of a zoning ordinance amendment, number 31.89, about landscape. And we have our planner here.
The ordinance that's in front of the board tonight is, obviously has to do, as the supervisor said, with landscaping. The intent from the planning department of amending this ordinance is purely to do with the renumbering of the ordinance, particularly the zoning section of the ordinance, to renumber things to make it more consistent with what developers, people in the private sector expect to see the organization of a Euclidean ordinance. This section was at the tail end of the ordinance, after all the administrative stuff. That's not super common. So we're just seeking to renumber it so people can understand the ordinance more easily.
Thank you.
Yep.
Is there any questions or clarifications or a motion to move this forward?
I'll make the motion to move it forward.
We have a motion and a second for the introduction and first reading of zoning ordinance amendment number 3189. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, we'll do a roll call vote.
Ms. Kellerman?
Yes.
Mr. Kyke?
Yes.
Ms. Wilson?
Yes.
Mr. Fields Bliss?
Yes,
Ms. Butler Challenger, yes. Ms. Hagerman?
Yes.
Thank you.
that motion carries. Thank you, Miles. 13, large B, small b, is the public hearing of our 2026 fiscal year budget. I'll turn it over to the superintendent to introduce that, and then we will open the hearing to the public.
Thank you, Mr. Supervisor. The budget that you had presented to you and which was presented to the public for the public hearing tonight reflected, I think, 2 or 3 changes that you made at the last meeting and no others. I did try to increase revenue in the general fund based on year-to-date actuals that have come in. That is not something I have done in the past, but I have been challenged by this board to try to do that as those numbers come in and creep a little higher. For me, it is a practice that I feel as though we can't always count on those revenues, but looking at year-to-dates does in fact give you hope that next year will be the same or in fact higher, so we will continue to do that and we'll adjust those as necessary. Those don't require a budget amendment. If they come in lower than that, that does not require us to do anything to the budget. It's a recognition of revenue and doesn't need to be amended. So if that was a question any of you had, that's easily taken care of. I would take any questions that you might have. I know that we addressed page by page at our last meeting. And if you have any questions, I'm happy to enumerate on any of those. So just let me know.
Budget questions before the hearing? Okay,
Benefits?
So we are going to be having a meeting tomorrow with our employees, with our new insurance representative, and we'll be unveiling those numbers. So I will be able to update those hopefully by the time that you adopt this budget. So unfortunately, it is higher. And then we are implementing the items that you gave us feedback on at the last meeting, and we'll be asking employees to pay approximately 15% of that premium each month. We'll take that out of each paycheck. We thought that would be easier for employees as we move into this, but we were able to secure a Blue Care Network plan. And I feel as though it's a good plan, and we'll be able to present that and take any questions from our employees tomorrow on that, or put them in touch with the person that's going to be unveiling that to them. So
So it's not reflected in here?
it is not.
just one plan?
It is just one plan. When we asked for a second plan, it was a $6 difference, and therefore it didn't make much sense to offer another plan. So we'll be just offering the one Blue Care Network plan.
And how did you land on 15 instead of 20?
I determined when we looked at the cost for us going into it for the first year, I thought it was more palatable for both the township and the employees to take 15%. It was a little bit more, but I think what will be the cost for some people that might be more is the fact that they'll be paying for spouse and children. And so we just wanted to make it an easier transition for everyone, that we are a family-friendly organization and have many people here that take the family benefit. So we wanted to just try to transition a little easier for those people, just because it's the first time.
How are folks feeling about the 15 rather than the 20? Any objections to that?
What she just explained is what you're saying. Yeah.
Yeah, we had landed on 20 is what I'm asking, and I just want to make sure everyone is comfortable with the change.
I don't have any comments on it.
For the
Sounds like they are.
township's aspect, it was like a $10,000 difference, I think. Is that correct? Roughly 10,000. So it felt like a concession we could make to transition the first year, and then we'll have to revisit those costs each year moving forward.
I'd encourage you to find a way to collect feedback throughout the year on the benefits, so that at the end of the year, we could see, folks are using this one, they hate this piece, so that if we do retool, we've got some really good feedback.
Yeah. I do agree with that. We tried to pick the best Blue Care Network plan because Blue Care Network was the only organization that would bid on us. So unfortunately, we didn't have options to look at Blue Care, like Blue Cross Blue Shield or Priority Health or HAP, because they wouldn't bid on us. And that was one of the things that we waited for right up until the end. And Blue Care Network was the only group that would take us on. So we will. Go ahead, I'm sorry.
This is gonna include a more modern system for employee coverage. So
It is.
we're not going to have all these line items.
Correct.
In the voucher. So, I mean, that could save $10,000 right there.
That's probably true.
Yeah.
That's a good point.
Yeah, I am excited to see this play out. We have had that same plan. Like I said, I think I came here in 12, but I think we changed in 13 or 14. So it has been the plan for at least 10, 11 years. So it will be a big difference, and I do think things have become more user-friendly, so I do hope that is the case. But yes, we've been receiving feedback mostly from not anyone that takes our insurance currently, but those employees that receive the buyout not to take insurance. And that will be adjusted as well, and that price will also be made available tomorrow, which has been adjusted as well, down a little bit, because people will be paying for those benefits. But they are also welcome to come onto our insurance if that's what they choose to do.
Let me ask you a question. We're not getting rid of the people who still have balances in their dental, vision.
So Taylor and I have talked about
Their flex
that, and we may look to pay that balance out to the employees in the next couple of months, but that is not something that we've decided on yet. I would like that probably to be something that we do in the next fiscal year. But people do
So
have.
you'll still see them on
But they will be
Oh, I
able
think-
to both do the flexible spending accounts, both for healthcare and for daycare. We're gonna offer that one as well. So people will be able to take advantage of that pre-tax out of their paychecks, and the monthly premiums for healthcare will also be pre-tax. So we hope that that'll be a bigger bang for people's buck, that they are using those pre-tax options.
So just to clarify, for the folks who still have a balance, they have the entire year of 2026 to spend that out?
No, we will most likely close out, what happens usually is people have until the end of March of 2026 for previous year spending. We may look to pay that out after that is done, because that would make the most sense based
Right.
on, because that's the way WageWorks works as well. The card that the HSA card that they have until March of the next fiscal year to submit any bills to be paid from the 25 benefit year. So we will most likely try to adhere to those same tax, health insurance and tax deadlines, and then make a decision at that time, which I will most likely come to the board and ask to share those balances with you, and then to ask that would be a budget amendment as well for us, so to get your feedback on that.
Other questions or thoughts on the health plan as it pertains to the budget, or the budget overall?
Have you ever considered, like a consortium with other municipalities for healthcare? I only mention that because that's what my school district has done with the others in our county, as a way of
Yeah, we
lowering
worked with
costs as a
Mike
bigger
on that,
pool.
our new healthcare representative, and it didn't seem of benefit. I think the one that was available to us was from the west side of the state. And it didn't seem like it would benefit us
Okay.
as much, but we did consider that option.
Were you asking like forming a consortium
Yeah.
or joining one?
Well, either.
Either. And I don't think we looked at forming one, did we?
We did not. I don't think there's any interest from the municipalities that we are similar to and close to, or would be the same ones we're in SCUMA with. And they have all chosen to do their own thing. We've all similarly done something similar each year, but that's something they've chosen to just do on their own, so.
And this is the same for everyone, union, non-union? Is that what you were saying earlier?
I would defer to legal counsel. Will that be the same for?
You mean the health plan?
Mhm.
Yes, you don't have any, unlike commonly in collective bargaining agreements where there's a specific plan and detail about contribution, The law enforcement contracts do not include that language. And there has been discussion as we near the end of negotiations with the lower unit recently, that they're aware that there's some kind of change coming. Obviously, they'll want to keep as much of their own money as they can, but they also understand that you have to move and do things. So we'll continue to have those conversations. We're in the process of finalizing a tentative agreement with them as it is. So I expect that that could still come up, but we're pretty close, and I think that they understand what the township is trying to do.
All right, thank you.
You're welcome.
Any other questions
Any question?
on budget?
Yes.
Go for it.
787. We talked,
What page are you on?
I'm on page of the Finance Committee budget recommendation from last meeting, page 20. And on this one is page 19, I believe. Whoops. I think it
What are you
flipped on me.
looking at?
I'm looking at other,
Which department?
oh, Parks and Rec. Other recreation programs, it's on 101.751.787.000.
Okay.
We talked extensively about that at the meeting, at the last meeting. You had suggested 25,000 for the bath.
That's included.
The art, yes.
And
the
we,
40.
we talked about splitting it. I don't recall ever coming up with a concrete amount. And I see this is, it says 15,000 in 2 weeks ago, Finance Committee budget. Recommended budget was 40. And this one says 40,000 now. So are we saying,
Because the board chose to change that from the finance committee to include the $25,000 for the art project.
Technically, the finance committee recommended not doing it.
Because ours show we removed it, the new one shows they put it back in.
And then we, as the board, decided to put it back in.
okay, I don't recall okaying $40,000 for that project.
No, it's
It's
not.
not.
It's
40.
25.
The 15
The
is for
15
the
is for other projects.
But what the public is gonna be seeing is the public hearing budget right here that
Right.
says $40,000.
Correct.
They don't
The
see
budget
anything else.
is 40,000. It's 25,000 plus 15,000
For
for
other
other
art.
activities.
That
It's
are not
two
museum.
things,
That are not
one
museum.
thing.
Yeah, so this includes,
That budget line item usually includes $25,000 for other recreation programs by itself without the other project. So I reduced that,
I see the arrow going down on the 15.
correct.
that was our recommendation of the
But
finance.
here at the board, you decided to include the $25,000 for the memorial art project.
Okay,
There was a consensus at this board of at least 2, 3, 4, 5 of you that I think that wanted to move forward with it. I didn't hear no, so when I heard no, I think 2 of them said no, and the rest of you generally indicated either silence or that you were okay with it.
okay. I must have fallen asleep there for a while because I honestly don't recall making a concrete decision on an amount.
I take
Well,
it
we
from,
didn't take a vote because it wasn't an item to vote on. It was just a
Exactly.
consensus discussion. So at the end, I said, do we feel like we've got consensus? We didn't have 100% consensus, but
more of you said
more
yes
people
or
said yes
nothing
than no.
than no.
So while it wasn't a formal vote, more voices said yes than no.
So are we saying if we vote on this, when we vote on this, that's next meeting, I assume, right?
Yeah.
Then that particular project will be what you suggested, $25,000.
Yes, up to $25,000. That would be the max.
Okay.
Other questions? I noticed there wasn't a cover page like usual. Is that what you'll prepare for us for next?
I will for the next budget, yeah, for
Do you
the,
have
for the
an
public
idea of
hearing.
how much fund balance we're proposed to use?
I think it's $500,000.
That's down
Mm-hmm.
from where we landed.
Well, because we increased some revenues.
Oh, great. That's good news.
Mm-hmm. And you did cut some projects as
Yeah.
well out of, I think, building and grounds.
That's not where I expected it to go, so.
And I didn't
Great,
go over this.
thank you.
Excuse me, I didn't mean to interrupt. I didn't go over this line by line, but you cut the 48,495 from the Park Lake Trail. And all I heard was that you're gonna use it somewhere else.
I think it was 38? No, it was,
It returns back to, I think it's 42. I think it returns back to general fund.
I just wanna remind everybody that that was the only CIP project that the planning commission suggested we pass. It came to this board, we passed it. And it was, I won't say funded, I'll say allocated. And those words that Jack Phillips, sitting in this chair, said, that it was never on the budget. He yelled at Meg Ritchie about it. And yet, that money was on there, and it was being gradually percolated out to other projects, so it, from 50, it went down to,
It was never percolated out to anything. It paid for the, when we obtained the land from the Drain Commission, it paid for that, and it also paid for the engineering study of that area. So it never went to anything else. It actually had been sitting in there when the accountants went over the audit with me at that amount. So the amount that was used for that area.
okay. I was under the impression that the seller had to do the survey.
It was an easement, so
I see.
there were legal fees involved.
All right,
that's what Phil had presented to us.
Correct.
okay. That was, my question was, where was that money going if it was being taken out from there?
Yeah, I mean, it's not actually real money, right? It's just an allocation.
That was my, it was an A word, allocation.
Yeah. Other questions? All right, well then we'll move to the public hearing. We'll open the public hearing for the public. If anyone in the public wants to give comment on the proposed budget, please step up to the lectern, introduce yourself, and let us know what you want to say. I see no one stepping up to the lectern, but I was just handed, hot off the press, an email from a resident who isn't able to join us and wanted her concerns read. This is from Judy Gardy. She says, I feel eliminating and therefore not funding community committees and boards is short-sighted. Last year, you paid over $70,000 to consultants to develop 5-year plans for parks and recreation, as well as 5-year non-motorized trail plan. These plans need to be implemented, and the best way to see that these plans are implemented is to have community input through community-based boards and committees. The same is true for senior services. You paid professionals to develop plans for the expansion of the senior center and/or in addition to the building. The only question you raised related to all this work and effort put into these plans was, where would people park? After consultation with your planning staff and reviewing their study, which actually determined there is space for an additional 7 spaces, you determined that the question about parking was not only relevant for the senior center, but for the entire township campus. I do not see money in the budget for this study. Also, I do not see additional resources for the leadership of the senior center. James is doing well bringing activities to the center, but there is a continuing need for senior services. The Senior Services Advisory Board should continue its work to build partnerships and to collaborate with community-based resources that contribute to the well-being of our seniors. Lastly, I will express the disappointment of Friends of Park Lake in your not including funding for the Park Lake Nature Trail. It is the #1 priority in both the 5-year Parks and Rec plan as well as the non-motorized trail plan. Turning your back on the nature trail is shameful after all this time and effort the community has put into the development of the Park Lake Nature Trail. Thank you for your service representing us. Please reinstate the citizen input into implementation of these services. Judy Gardy, Chair of the Senior Services Advisory Board and President of Friends of Park Lake. Thank you for providing that. Other comments from the public? Hearing none, I'm going to close the public hearing. This issue will be on the board agenda for the next meeting. We do need to pass a budget at the next meeting, so if you have thoughts, comments, now is the time, or get them to Karen in the next 2 weeks. Otherwise, we'll have to have a special meeting to pass it in order to be on time, because we're not going to be like the federal government and the state government and go overtime and not have a budget. All right, any other budget talk? All right, we'll go to item 14, which is new business, items for introduction and discussion. Speaking of committees, I believe this is what Judy was referring to. In your packet, you have a proposed new committee structure. I met with the superintendent and used the strategic plan that we approved as a guide to propose what you see in the memo in front of you, which is page 25 and 26 of the packet. Here is what I am proposing to you all, and I believe this has the superintendent's support as well. This is what we had discussed. This is just a proposal, open to changes, ideas, ways to make it better, but this does mostly follow what was recommended in the strategic plan, and I'll share with you what I changed from what was recommended. So in this proposal, we would shift how we are operating our committees pretty dramatically. What we have heard from the committees is they don't know what we want them to be doing, what we want them to be working on. While Judy said in her note that we have taken plans to expand the senior center and asked about parking, I would take a little bit of umbrage with that to say that that is not what the board has, this board has never said we want to expand the senior center. But that has been what the committee has spent a lot of time on, because that's really something that they would like, which is a reasonable thing for them to want. But other than that, what especially the Senior Services Advisory Board spends time on is operations. And right now, our committees are not in the operations space. So what you see in the proposal is to move advisory committees to the operational space, which is really functionally where they want to be. Bath Fest is operations. Our Parks and Rec is how we operate Parks and Rec department, or Recreation department. So it's functionally putting into place how we have been mostly operating over the last several years. And I put it into this proposal because when committees have come to us asking for guidance, we have not given them guidance as a group. And so that tells me that we don't have the guidance, or we're not in consensus about what we would like them to see. And as a former volunteer coordinator, wasting volunteers' time is the worst thing you can do for people who are giving of their time to their local government. And so I'm hoping that we will fix that wasted time and folks will feel like they're heard, they're listened to, and their input is put where it belongs, which is mostly on our operational teams with staff. The statutory committees, they are statutory, so we would keep them. They have a legal operational role in our government, so none of those would change. The Finance Committee would still remain a committee of the board, made up only of the board. And then some committees would transition from board advisory to staff advisory, as I mentioned. What I'm proposing there is the Park Lake Advisory Board and the Road Committee. These are two of the deviations from the recommendation in the strategic plan, and I just want to be very transparent about that. The strategic plan suggested we keep the Park Lake Advisory Board and Road Committee as is. I'm proposing that we don't do that strictly because I think we need to treat all alike committees the same. And functionally, the Road Committee especially is operating like a staff committee. They meet with staff, they advise staff, of our staff and the Road Commission staff, and that's how those decisions are made. Those decisions do come to the full board for discussion and voting when we have the contracts and the budget. Park Lake Advisory Board is almost self-sufficient. We don't have a Park Lake department, but I think that their recommendations on what happens to the lake are really technical in nature, not something that we as a board get into. The staff take that, the staff understand what's happening, the staff hires the weed killers. They really are advising the staff. I think the report that they do annually is stellar, and I would hope they would still do that report for the public and for us and continue to report back in that way. Some advisory committees would transition from board advisory to staff advisory, but would merge to form one committee. This has been a piece of feedback I've actually heard from committee leadership, that there's an interest in putting all of the programming together, since our staff, functionally, the programming staff is James in this way. And so the Recreation Committee and the Senior Services Advisory Board would cease existence, and they would become collectively the programming board, and would support, or programming committee rather, would support our programming staff. And we can, let me park that there for a second. Some advisory committees would cease to exist. I'm proposing the Police and Fire Board and the Public Art Committee. The Public Art Committee functionally hasn't existed in years at this point. There's not members, they don't have quorum. We've never funded them to do the things that they need to do. I was part of the board who voted to create the Public Art Committee, and the vision has never quite taken place. It reminds me of the DDA, right? Big vision, good ideas, but just didn't work in practice. The Police and Fire Board has been canceling many of their meetings. Functionally, they get together and they hear the reports on what's happening in police and fire. They get the number, they talk about it. But in terms of advising a modern fire department and a modern police department, that's coming from the state, that's coming from our leadership, that's coming from national regulations. That board is no longer necessary to advise the day-to-day operations of the fire department and police department, as we are now building and expanding them. Some board committees, I would propose we create ad hoc. We have talked about that at the board already. One of those would be the Bath School Memorial Art Committee. That's a good example of something that we've actually talked about. We've formed hiring committees that some of us have sat on ad hoc. In the past, we've done a superintendent contract negotiation committee that was just board members, and that did its job and then went away. I imagine that there may be the need for a facilities committee in the future as we talk about the township footprint. That's not something I'm proposing here, but those are just examples of ones that we would create of us, would report to us, and we would then close down once that work is done, so temporary in nature. So you've all seen the memo, you've all read it, so I won't repeat what's in here, but I know there's lots of feelings, mixed feelings about this from us, from members of the committees. I think it's really important to acknowledge their feelings, and I don't want to burn relationships with volunteers, but I do want to make sure we're using their time and efforts and expertise appropriately, and they're not giving their feedback into a void that never actually manifests. So I want to acknowledge that. And I would just want to acknowledge our committee members in general. This is not a statement of our committee members. This is a statement of how we want to function as a government. I have met most of the committee members in person. I've served on almost all of these committees over the years, and the dedication to the township, to local government, to feedback to us, to involvement is really stellar. And what I am proposing is that that does not go away. It just shifts how it looks into a way that is more functional both for them and for us. So that's the proposal I have in front of you. It's on for discussion tonight. If we like this, I would bring this for vote on the 15th so that we could start this come January 1. I'd like to be able to communicate to committees what we're doing. If we don't adopt this, we'll continue to move along as we have in the past, and there's pros and cons of that, or certainly open to any changes to this or other proposals that looks to restructure in a different way. I have heard our committees loud and clear say to us that what we are doing is not working. So while this is my recommendation, I'm certainly not married to this. I do think we need to do something to change how they're functioning based on their and our feedback. With that, I'll stop talking, take questions, thoughts, ideas, feedback, no holds barred. Go ahead,
I'll
Ray.
start. Just, I may talk again before we're over.
You're welcome to.
For probably a decade, I have said that parks and recreation should be separate. Recreation is James. He does a great job, and he focuses on that, and that's excellent. But parks are a different ballgame. It's strategic, and it's gonna take a lot of thought and effort. You know, you have to do, ideally, you have to get successful CIPs, you have to possibly write grants. I don't think that should fall under, well, writing grants does presently fall under staff. But, like Ben, correct me if I'm wrong, Karen, but didn't he write some grants? Ben?
He wrote a grant proposal to this board when we were talking about the Park Lake area.
Yeah,
He's
Sparks
done
or something like that.
CIPs and stuff
Yeah.
like that. A Spark grant, actually, yes, he did, but this board was not interested in pursuing that at the time, so.
Interesting. So I guess what I'm saying in a nutshell is I think you need to separate recreation and like it is, be it with staff. In the past, as you recall, because we were both on it, Parks and Recreation Committee was dissolved and combined with the
Farmers market.
The farmer's market. I'm seeing it, but I'm not saying it. Farmer's market, and there was one other one that it was combined with. Never mind. But anyway, that too has apparently not been successful. And I think that's our fault. We haven't given, just as you said, we haven't given them directions to tell us what we want to hear, or tell them what they should be doing.
I would say that the Recreation Committee is perhaps the most successful committee. And I don't mean that in a judgmental way against the other committees, but in terms of how they're operating and what they're putting out. But I don't disagree with you. We still are not feeding them thoughts. They're really self-generating, and I think it comes down to their leadership who has been able to do that. Karen, could you talk about how Parks and Rec has been separated?
Yes, I can, thank you. So Ben Zeeb, as the director of the DPW crew, has taken on the management of those, the land and the facilities. So his team obviously does the work to improve those. When there was the port in place, they managed that project. Anytime there's improvement, such as with the parking lot, they've managed that. Ben has, I think, successfully written capital improvement projects for the area, which includes work at the park, work at the boat launch, work at the beach, and he has submitted those as well. I think it's been a labor of maintaining what we have, because the direction has been that we would like to do, perhaps, I point at Kate because it's something she had said during strategic planning, is that she would like to see a project down in that area for the community. But unless that guidance, and that guidance came in the last year that we were working on the strategic plan, there hasn't been, as I would perceive, a interest in enhancing or picking up some of those projects. So minus that direction from the board or from me, it's been just maintaining those areas, which I think they do a beautiful job of.
But in terms of committees, there is no Parks Committee anymore.
That's
It's just
correct.
a Recreation Committee.
I would offer that Recreation does, because they have I can't think of what it's called. No, they have proposed, like there's the pit, the Gaga Ball pit, and there's different athletic aspects or activities at the parks. They do visit the parks, and they do make recommendations and ask questions and offer ideas for improvement, but no, there's no.
Through the lens of recreation.
Correct,
Okay.
but there's been no.
Ben does attend their meetings as well, he just hasn't in the last few months while he was
Right.
at the fire department.
The fire
but
chief.
He does attend those as well as James and myself.
Oh, I didn't know that. That's helpful.
Yes.
Thank you.
Yeah. And then we have Cody, has been attending, Cody Baird, a member of DPW, the foreman, has been attending the Park Lake Advisory Board when he can do that as well, to hear from them.
Oh,
So
that's great.
we have feedback coming to staff that we are discussing, but like I said, absent a major renovation or a major project, no.
But I think with our strategic plan, we made a very, I think, specific decision to invest in the Park Lake corridor.
Correct.
So in my mind, throughout the next couple of years, we should prioritize those projects that are down there in Wiswasser Park or the boat launch or those things. I mean, that's what we've committed to say that we're not gonna, I don't wanna say invest in other areas, that's not exactly what I mean, but the focus, our priority would be developing that area down there. So what I would hope to see is, in the next go-round, new CIP projects proposed that are down there, and then I would hope that through the lens of our strategic plan, we would fund some of those projects, you know, at the lake or at the park in that area. Otherwise, we're not following the strategic plan that we all agreed to. Does that help, like, lay the groundwork?
Yeah, but what do I want to say to be diplomatic? In the past, there has been presentations by staff attempting to obliterate is the word, not obliterate, the Park Lake Trail project. And I bring this up because it's an example of what you are proposing to hand over is complete control of parks and recreation instead of having a committee that recommends. And in the past, both the director and the superintendent have stated their, in my opinion, their subjective argument toward not funding that project, not even acknowledging that project. We already own the land, the trail's already there, and yet the only thing I heard from Ben when he made his presentation is that it's all water. That's called a wetland, and we have an obligation to preserve wetland and green space for the future of this township. And what I'm seeing is recommendations to not do that. And also, whenever we do make a recommendation, well, DPW doesn't have enough people. They don't have enough time to work on it. And it's our job to see that we direct the staff of the township to do those projects that the public wants and in a factor that we can afford to fund. And this is kind of a segue from committees, but I had a conversation with the chairman of the planning commission. And it's pretty much unanimous that the CIP process in Bath Township is pretty much non-existent and dysfunctional. And I say that again is because the only CIP project, and I've talked about this ad nauseum, is the Park Lake Trail. And yet, it seems every time it comes around since 1922, or 2022, that we always make the financial excuse, or there's too much water, or the trail doesn't go anywhere. I mean, what the hell kind of argument is that if we are expected to do what the public wants? Just as Judy said in that email, it was the top priority, I believe, in the non-motorized trail plan, and I was going to say strategic plan, and in the strategic plan, it was, as you know, the Park Lake corridor is a priority, the first priority, I might add, that he suggested, and I don't see that happening in a constructive manner for the township in the manner that it's being currently represented. So I think there needs to be a way for the committees to represent the public of Bath Township, the voters, to better orient those projects to come to fruition.
Yeah, I would argue that this proposal doesn't prevent that. And I think to be fair to staff, this board has never allocated money.
It's always money.
Except for that $50,000 that then, because of the Eagles Nest, couldn't do what we asked them to do.
Well, you can, it could be altered, but it would be cheaper, in fact, because the parking lot where the Eagles were was $40,000. But anyway.
Right, but the plan that we had approved was to
Yes.
develop that,
I
and
agree.
so that we learned we couldn't do because of the Eagles, which is
Correct.
great.
And we're getting off track, I apologize.
No, but I just want to be clear that those projects didn't happen because the board didn't vote to do them.
Correct.
And you know, you can think the board should have, and you probably do.
No,
And that's fair, but I just want to be fair to staff that never did the board instruct them to do something that they then didn't do. I do think, you're absolutely right, that they have come to us with advice that we not do that, but frankly, that's their job.
Yeah.
And we can agree or disagree with them.
Yeah.
But I just want to make it clear that staff isn't going rogue on this, the board has instructed them.
No.
I didn't, and I don't mean to say you were saying that, I just want, for people who are listening and watching from home, I want to make sure they know that it's not that we approve something and staff then decides not to do it. But Karen, do you want to add anything to that?
I was gonna add, I think you covered a couple of the topics from the first, I understand that the previous superintendent, Troy Feltman, was, I think as many people, gobbling up land around the lake. But I think that this board understands that with changes in superintendents and with changes in boards, which happen very frequently around here and mostly on every 4 years, those things change. So while he may have felt that it was prudent to do those things, my direction as the superintendent has been to try to make Park Lake Road safer and do things along that corridor. I think it's operationally, it is my responsibility to tell you when I don't think you should do something, and it's your decision to, this board as a whole.
I agree.
To give me direction, because where you are incorrect is that it is not this board's job to give direction to the staff, it's this board's job to give direction to me.
You are staff.
I understand I'm staff, but then I in turn set staff on their goals and
Well,
priorities.
when we've had conversations unilaterally, you have been the poster child for staff. That's why I used that term.
You're correct. I just wanted to make that clarification
Understand.
that, you know, you're not giving direction to DPW, you're giving it to me and I'm giving it to DPW. But other than that first phase one, when Treasurer Steve Wiswasser was still here and said that they were authorizing phase one, I think he called it, of the trail, that's essentially what is there. So the trailhead is there. I understand that there's not parking there, but we have obtained, you know, land from the road commission, drain commission, excuse me, and we continue to work through those issues. That is how things get done, direction from the board to me, as well as the money being allocated to do those things. So I would offer that the staff continues to maintain the areas. I know that, and this is just about the park, but, or the trail, excuse me, but we continue to do those things. That is how we essentially function in operating all departments here. So, I think staff would agree with you and has said to me very loudly that the CIP process is broken in Bath Township. And I think it's broken, the way we handle our CIP, that process is broken, as well as the funding mechanism for it is broken. So staff's been saying that for as long as I've been here. Troy Feltman that hired me said it was broken back in 2012. And we've tried to, I think, modify it over the years, and we're still not there. But I can offer you, staff has some dynamic ways in which that could change, but it's gonna require the planning commission and this board to fundamentally change the way it thinks about capital improvement projects.
Yeah, I would echo that. I agree with you. It is broken. One of my first meetings when I was appointed to the board in 2012 was a joint planning commission board meeting to talk about fixing the CIP. We made all sorts of decisions about it. But frankly, what we've ended up with is sort of like a grant competition. But in the grant competition, there's actually no grant money. So like even if you win the top spot, there's actually no money in the budget to do it, and, you know, frankly, we're gonna pull $500,000 out of the fund balance, so there like really isn't money to do those projects. So I think that has been, I think the board, and I'm speaking like long-term board, not just the seven of us, has sort of given the feeling to committees that there's opportunity to do stuff when there has not been opportunity to do stuff. So we sort of like engage them and get them excited, like present what you want to do to us, and also we know there's no money to do any of that, and there's not enough votes to make those things happen.
True.
So it does feel like we jerk people around. I'm hoping that with a different structure, people will feel less jerked around, and that CIP projects probably should only come from staff.
Well, CIP, a lot of municipalities, townships have a CIP fund. Just as, those are two things we should have long ago, and I suggest that we come up with a strategy for that, is two things. Have a fire truck fund and a CIP fund. Put a little bit in there, like, you know, half, and it's, you know, it's a touchy subject to even talk about taking money away from the celebration of the 100-year, not the celebration, but the commemoration of the Bath School bombing. But you gotta think in about 6-12 different directions. And you can't just put all your eggs in one basket and say, okay, we did good. I mean, split some of that money up and hell, throw a $5 bill in that CIP fund, in the fire truck fund every year, you know? And pretty soon you got $20. So that's what I'm saying. And one other thing I wanna say is, Troy Feldman gobbling up land, he spent between $33,000 and $39,000 total on all of that land he bought. And
I wasn't saying that. I was referring to a community member that said he was gobbling up land.
Yeah.
So those weren't my words intended for him. That was somebody's perception of what
I
he was
understand,
doing.
but
So I'm sorry I interrupted you.
in recent past, and in fact, since 2021, I think we've spent probably crowding $500,000 buying property around Park Lake that could have possibly been used for the Bath commemorative art project for the bombing. And one last thing I want to say is, you did say the trail's already there, and I still want to say that if it's already there, then why don't we do a free CIP project and acknowledge it? And at least that would appease the public to know that we did something good, that we actually named it.
I don't think that takes a CIP.
Exactly. That's what I'm saying, but there was a CIP, and you can pretty much bring it to fruition just by waving your wand.
Yeah, I want to say a couple things, and it's going to come out sassy, and I don't
that's
mean
okay.
it sassy, and I just want to name that, I'm not trying to like put you on the spot, but.
You and I like sassy.
Well, and we're friends, and I can say these things to you. We just talked about the budget, and nowhere during that time did you mention a CIP fund. Like, that was the right time to say that, and I don't disagree with it. I think
These
that's a
things
great
come to
idea.
me at night when I'm laying in bed
Well,
after
I'm
I've
just-
had 3 beers.
I'm just saying, like, you actually are in a position of power now. If you want to name the Park Lake Trail, like, bring a resolution to the board and put it on the agenda and, you know, make sure you get 3 other votes to make it happen.
I've tried that.
I mean, I don't think you've tried exactly that, but I hear what you're saying. But that's what it takes. It takes you and 3 other people here to get these things done. The staff, you're right, are not for the project, so they're never going to propose to us that we
Exactly.
hang a sign and make it a real thing. But if the board wants to do that, we have the authority to do that, and you are in a position of power to make that happen. You just gotta make sure you convince three people sitting here at this dais that
I
they
convinced
agree
2
with
of
you.
them, and I thought I convinced the 3rd one, but he said no. And he's wearing glasses and looking at me right now.
I think he said no on a very specific request that he did not agree with. That wasn't necessarily hanging a sign down on the Park Lake Trail, to be clear. But to bring it back to committees.
Committees, yes, I apologize, but it is an avenue of committees, so.
Yes, and I think the CIP process in particular, has confused, frustrated, and I'll say tricked, and I don't mean that like anybody has done it nefariously, but I think we have let committees believe that there is this CIP fund, come dazzle us with projects, and then we all decide your budget is zero and you're not gonna do those projects.
Exactly.
And that's not fair. And that is why I think if we switch to this structure, those folks would work directly with staff. Staff would then recommend projects into the CIP, because the CIP is meant to be long-range planning. It's not meant to be fun projects that, you know, are people's pet projects or things that, you know, we want to do. Sometimes those are the same things, but it's really meant to be a process that we are preparing budgetarily for capital improvements. And I just could not agree more with you that that process needs fixed, and I am super open to the planning commission and staff's innovative ideas to make that different. It seems to be working in many other communities, and I just don't understand why we can't make it work here. And that's not I'm not castigating anybody. I've been part of those processes, so.
I just want to say one thing.
Go ahead.
Well, two things. I didn't feel that was sassy at all.
Great, I was trying really hard,
You
because I
did
didn't
really
mean it
well.
sassy.
In regards to committee, I think we should have, since the strategic plan, the first thing is the Park Lake Corridor project, and it's gonna be a multi-year project. So what I would suggest is that we have a committee of individuals, such as volunteers and staff, to brainstorm what I would call parks and green space, including the Park Lake Corridor, including the Park Lake Trail, because how many, 65% of the people in this township live down there, over there, Park Lake area? Lots of people live there.
That would be like an ad hoc, you'd create that only
Correct.
for a certain amount of time, so it wouldn't be an actual,
But you don't have to call it an ad hoc. You could call it the Parks
well,
and...
you would just put it in a ad hoc, because it would be only for a certain amount of time.
Correct.
Yeah,
So it
I mean,
wouldn't
I
be like
think,
these ones that are going to be there all the time.
I guess what I'm saying in a nutshell is I don't think that you should allow staff to make all the decisions about those kinds of projects. I think we should have a say in it, and I think the community should have a say in it. And that's how committees are supposed to work, is they're run by volunteers from the residents, and they help make decisions, well, they help make suggestions to, you know, us and to Karen to make decisions. So I don't think you should exclude the general public by virtue of eviscerating all committees.
well, I want to be clear, this doesn't eviscerate all committees at
I know
all.
you have two. You have the road committee and you have the Park Lake Advisory Board.
No, and a programming committee?
Programming. Well,
Yeah.
that's for recreation, is that correct?
No, it would combine senior services and recreation, it would be all programming of the
Okay,
township.
you didn't put that down here in the little
It's
bottom.
It's on the next.
You're right,
on
it's
the
on the
next
top of
page.
page
Oh,
two.
but I'm reading right here.
Well, it's because you're not reading far enough, Ray.
So what you're saying is I got messed up by a margin, is that what
Yes.
you're saying?
I'm saying turn the page. It's at the top of the page.
Okay, I see that.
And I hear what you're saying, Ray, and I just want to be clear, staff are not making all of the decisions, but we do pay the staff to make the
We
township
do.
work.
We do.
And so that involves hiring experts who do have opinions, who do have history and expertise and experience. Sometimes that's not in agreement with us, but at the end of the day, we are voting on all of these things. Every dollar that is spent, we vote on, not once or twice, multiple times, right? Every time we're approving the vouchers every meeting, we're voting to approve the things that they have done.
I tried
So
to
I
get
want to
those
be clear, the power still lies with us. But what I don't think is our place is for the seven of us to be like, hey, should we put a swing set in the park? Should we do, that is not governance, that is operations. And the function of the government that has been decided before all of us are here has been to hire a professional staff to do that. Sometimes they are not going to agree with us. And then, again, we gotta get 4 people on this board to say, Karen, thank you for your expertise, but we're gonna say go in a different direction. We just haven't done that yet.
Well, you gotta determine whether you want a swing set or a teeter-totter. And pretty much public acknowledgement of those two, or many suggestions, decisions, choices should be made by, I think, the citizens, not,
It's our parks, though.
excuse me?
It would be our township park, so what if we wanted to put a playground in?
That's just a nebulous kind
I'm
of
like,
suggestion.
we wanna put a playground in, the township will put a playground in. You want us to go to all citizens and ask them if that's what they want?
I think you should have public meetings, like we've had.
To update our park? Isn't
Update-
that what we're doing? I mean,
update
we have
anything.
public meetings every 2 weeks.
What you're saying about getting rid of committees is getting rid of basically public input.
I want to be clear, we're not getting rid of committees. That is not the proposal in front of you. Yes, 2 of them that have not been meeting and
So technically, you're
producing.
getting rid of committees.
That's true,
But
but
he's
also
adding, obviously,
suggesting and creating
ad hoc.
some.
Yes.
But I want to be clear that committees should not be the only way we get community feedback. If you think about it, a committee is 7 or 9 people.
Correct.
There's 14,000 people. So if we think that committees are the only way we're getting feedback, we're not doing our jobs.
Well, that's the
So
only-
I think these committees would still exist. They would inform staff, who would inform us. And then I think we have to find other ways, to your point, community meetings, going out into the community. Karen and I have talked about going to see HOAs and folks like that, introducing our new chiefs around. I think we have to get out to get public feedback, not just require 7 people on a certain topic and say that's public feedback. We also do surveys. I'm not saying the committees aren't public feedback, I agree with you, they are, but they cannot be our only way we're getting public feedback.
Only got 160 respondents on the last surveys I've seen.
Yeah, because people don't want to do surveys. So
What
we've
about
got to find a new way.
Open house, town hall, something like that.
I've held town halls. We've held 2 town halls since I've become supervisor, excuse me. I just gave myself a very nice raise.
You know where his next step's gonna be.
You want it?
No, thank you. I have my own lovely job. But I mean, I couldn't agree with you more. I've done that and people showed up for both of those town halls. So if you have thoughts about the next town hall, if it's a Park Lake Corridor town hall, I think that's a great idea. It's right in line with our strategic plan and we should be doing that.
Well, just let them feel they're a part of it, because they are, you know? They're the ones
I agree. I don't think this plan prevents that from happening.
But it's gradually going away from that direction, I think.
That's a fair opinion. I disagree
That's what
with
it is,
it,
it's
but-
just an opinion.
Yeah,
Just an
no,
opinion.
that's super fair. Other thoughts? Kate, I know you had some thoughts before the meeting.
I do. I feel like I have a couple of things, similar to Ray. You had just mentioned one in your statement you just made, that they would inform the board. But what I see throughout this document in multiple places is they will no longer report to the board, they will act independently. And that's what I feel we really spent a lot of time talking about at our work session that we did to make the strategic plan. At least I felt like that was the position I was trying to convey at that meeting, is that I actually, as a board of trustee, as a trustee, wanted more information about what's going on instead of less. And to me, when I read through this, it felt like less, like the board is really being eliminated from the process of things happening. And I don't want to take that from a, we're here to micromanage swing
Yeah,
sets
no.
position. But I do think that we have a duty as an elected official to know what's happening, first off, and then to be part of a two-way back and forth dialogue, sort of out of respect for the staff and the volunteers, that if they did go off on a direction of putting a swing set in the park, as an analogy here, and they come to us with this plan and we're like, whoa, that is not what we had in mind at all. We are not putting any money for it, or there is no money for it, joke's on you, it's not happening, then I feel like we're sort of spinning our wheels the same way and wasting that time. What I was really hoping to see was more of a structure for this two-way line of communication, where they are coming to us with an update, more than just us reading through their minutes or watching videos. This is what we're doing, and then they could get feedback from us. We could ask questions. We could have more of a dialogue and feel like we're working together on some things. I know in the school district where I work, at the school board meetings monthly, one of the different buildings around the district comes and gives a report. Here's what's happening at Heartland High School, or whatever it is. And I think that the board likes that because they feel like they know what's going on, even if they don't have a kid in that building or something along those lines. That's more what I was hoping for. I also feel like the point has been made multiple times, we don't want to change anything, we gotta do the strategic plan, but I don't see in here where the staff is supposed to make their decisions with the strategic plan as a guide. And I think that that's been the justification for this whole project is the strategic plan, but I don't see that as a guiding principle to the staff doing whatever it is that they're gonna end up doing.
I think we've already stated that. We've voted the
But-
strategic
But
plan
if
in.
this
It
is
actually
our
has nothing to do with it.
policy or a recommendation, shouldn't the committees be operating in line with a strategic plan?
Yes, we've instructed our staff to operate in line with the strategic plan. So
Okay.
they are guiding the committees. You're absolutely
Okay.
right. They
But
should
I
be
just
doing that
didn't
in line.
see that in the text of this document.
You're right. I didn't think we needed to repeat that, because I hope that Karen has gotten the message from us
I
that
mean, I
it's
put
the
my budget
strategic
together
plan.
with the strategic plan at the height of importance of that. But I also see a couple of things, if I may, that are happening in conjunction with, this is just committees. And I understand that you're looking for, I heard you during the strategic planning process, say that you wanted more information. But that's not, if the recreation committee is talking about Gaga Ball Pit and that's not really the information you want. You want
I feel like it
James.
kind of is.
You want James to come and talk about the programming that he's doing, I think, for Farmers Market, for the Senior Center, for Parks and Recreation. I think those things can happen, and those things I am planning for to happen for you separately from this committee structure. It doesn't mean Park Lake Advisory and Recreation can't continue to do those things, but then have the department come and give you an update so that you do know what's happening. And that's part of his work because he works closely with that committee. It doesn't also preclude Adam Montry coming with James or with Sandra and talking about Bath Fest or the things that they're working on, because I think they've communicated well with the board, or the Park Lake Advisory Board from coming and giving you the report. So I see it as it's been done that way. I don't think you need senior services to come here and tell you what's going on. You need James and Taylor to come here and tell you what's going on at the senior center.
Right. Well, I'm
So
not
it's
saying that
more
I care who
Depart,
comes.
but I'm saying
I
it's,
just care
it's
that
departmental,
somebody
it's
comes.
departmental, not committee. In my mind, it's departmental, because the things that you posed to me during the strategic planning, you wanted to know about departments, like the
Right.
farmer's market, like, so that's what I'm saying, is that thing can happen while this thing is happening. But
Okay.
it doesn't have to move, it's not all one big clump of messiness. I think those things can both happen.
Will they happen, I guess is what I'm
I heard you, and I'm working towards it, so in my mind, yes, it will happen. But you also have to take these steps, because fundamentally, these committees have been coming to you and not the departments.
But I don't really think that they have, other than they came and they asked for some money for Bath Days. But otherwise, I really don't think.
I mean, the senior
But they
services has
have
come, Park Lake has come,
multiple
in my mind, they have been coming. It used to, under the previous supervisor, there was a schedule for them to come. But I think really what I heard you say you desired was that information and communication from the department. So I would fundamentally change who's coming and what they're giving to you.
So if these committees start, how would we know what they're doing?
You have a Taylor and you have a James. I mean, I'm thinking about recreation specifically. You have sorry, I almost said Drew Montry. Adam, you have James and you have Taylor. And James and Taylor, and I'm sure with Adam's support, would come here and give you an update.
Okay.
I don't think it's the
So when
committee
it says
that
they
comes.
no longer report to the board, tell me what that means.
We're no longer controlling them. Right now, they are like of us, part of us. We've created them to advise us. In this sense, we would be creating them to advise the staff who's doing the day-to-day work.
So how do we find out about that?
That's when she just said that they would come and report.
Okay, so what happens in committees would be included in the reports, the staff reports?
Yes, because that's about
Yes,
your
but I want to be
function of
really
what-
clear, like, they're gonna talk, you go to the Senior Services Advisory Board, and they're talking about, like, we need name tags. We
Yes.
need someone sitting in a certain table in a certain place. That is not stuff that I think should come to us, right? Like, I just want to make sure that the committee members that are out there are hearing that, because that's not governance. But I think what I'm hearing from you is like, we want to know the activities in general of the township, what we're involved in, what we're struggling with, the challenges, what we're working on.
Right,
in a
that's kind of what I
regular
have is
manner.
more of the big picture stuff, and I want to hear some of the positive stuff that's happening, and I want to be able to
Yeah.
acknowledge people for the work that they're doing, like when they came after Bath Days, and, you know, we got to say, this was really great, and I really liked it, and maybe think about this for next year. Like, I thought that was worth the 10 minutes that we spent doing it.
Yeah.
Same thing with like the farmer's market. I have some concerns, but you know, like, I'd like to hear maybe what some thoughts are going forward with that in a public forum, not just me sending James an email.
Yeah.
And I think that I would like the structure to exist for that to happen. It currently does not.
Well, I
But
would
I
argue
don't
it
see
does
that-
exist and we just don't do it.
Well, then let's put do it in our document here.
So you
I
want
don't think it's a
schedule-
committee thing, that's why it's not in here. What I would propose, you're saying, is it's an agenda thing. And we need to have on our agenda a departmental update and do some sort of
Rotation.
rotation.
Right.
Because we also need to tackle the agenda, that's also on the agenda, is for us to, I'm hoping to advise us on some things that we learned at a training, and adjust our agenda. But one of the things I would propose is that we have a departmental update, and then Karen assigns a department every single meeting to come to us and say, here's what we're working on, here's what we're struggling with, here's the big project, here's what our committees have shared with us. Because I do agree with you on that.
Right, yeah, and I think just even for us to be informed about what's going on, I think is important. I think that's probably why we're here, honestly.
'Cause we
is
didn't
are
know what was
supposed
going
to
on.
know what's
Yeah, I mean,
going
what
on.
I would argue is that nothing's going on in the committees,
And I don't
for
want
the
to,
most part.
I don't want to give the impression of micromanaging. That's not certainly my intent.
Yeah.
But just general information and awareness, in a sort of a two-way dialogue, I think, is what I'm looking for.
Yeah, I work for a board as well, and the danger, I'll just name it, that Karen has, and I hope none of my board members are watching this, is the danger that I have with my board, which is once you open the can, you've now invited them in. And whether you intend to micromanage or not, suddenly we find ourselves voting on senior center bingo. And that's not an appropriate, I voted on it, this is me too, I'm not me too.
You did?
I did. So that's not what we should be voting on, right?
Right.
It's bigger governance-related things. So I think what Karen needs to figure out, and this is part of, her role as a professional, is like, what does come to us, what doesn't come to us, when do things come to us, right? If things come to us half-baked, that sort of invites our feedback, and maybe that's helpful and not helpful sometimes. So I think that is something that Karen has to struggle with. But I do think that we have to provide that space so we can hear what's going on. We had roof problems, we had facilities issues, like, it would have been interesting to have that come before us. Obviously, it came because it was an emergency, and it came as fast as it could, but, for our facilities people to say, like, we've got some aging facilities, we need to start thinking about what we're gonna do, because that leads to the capital improvement program to do long-range planning. That is what I feel like we're missing, is that like bigger picture, longer range things, and we're just like putting out fires, almost literally in places, right? Rather than like leading in a concerted way. So I would propose that we tackle that with the agenda and we create space so that we know what is we know what we need to be working on. Right now, I couldn't tell you like, you know what the board needs to be working on? We've just done the insurance, we've just done the retirement, so I don't wanna say we're not doing, we've made big changes, okay? We've made big things. But like, what do we need to do for facilities? What do we, I don't know.
I would offer to you, Kate, that I hear you. I said that at the strategic meeting, like, I've not stopped thinking about it while also tackling some other things. I welcome the opportunity to share more information with you, but I would also like you to recognize that it's clear to me that when we even come to board meetings, that some board members have not even looked at their packet. And it's clear to me sometimes when I send emails that people don't even read them. So while I hear you saying, give me more, I also recognize there are others that don't want more, but I'm still willing to give more. So I
Yeah,
hear,
well, I
I'm
guess
just
I'm
saying,
just
like, I
kinda
hear you,
speaking under
and I want to do those things because I want you to feel, I hate to be sideswiped. I tell all my staff that. I don't ever want to be hit upside the head with something I don't know. But with that also comes that I have to let some things go because I can't do everything. I also don't want you to feel that way. I want to help you guys shine, and I want you to feel like you know what's going on as well.
I
So
guess that's just our personal philosophy as to what we think it means to be on the board
You're
of
correct.
trustees. And
You're
and
correct.
if our constituents don't like that, then that person shouldn't be reelected, I suppose.
but what you're asking for
No,
is
I think that's a
reasonable.
good summary, yeah.
And what you're asking for is reasonable, and I think I said that to you during the strategic planning process, is that there have been some boards that do not want that information. And what I have learned over time working with two different gentlemen that have mentored me in leadership is that you go with what your board needs. And I was very grateful that you communicated that with me, that you wanted more information, because prior, other boards have said, don't need that, don't want it, not gonna look at it.
Was it all dudes?
I'd like to say something. I always read your emails.
I appreciate that, thank you.
I promise.
Yeah.
Texts,
Uh-huh, yeah, I appreciate that.
praying minutes.
A
Yeah,
couple
bring
other
minutes.
things.
I did not see that email, no.
The membership,
there.
I guess I also have a little bit of an issue with the board having no input on the committee membership. I suppose that's open for debate. And then, like, if we form committees, like, say, a hiring committee, would anybody be able to put in an application? The staff, would board of trustees members have to put in an application if we wanted to be part of a hiring committee or any of the other types of things that we have popping up? Like, this feels a little nebulous, for lack of a better term.
Ad hoc committees.
Yeah, so the ad hoc committees, we would form and we would name the people.
Wait,
And
when you
I haven't anticipated that it would be an application type project, that it would be mostly committee of the board. And if there were other people, like, we would know who those people were and pull them in. It is nebulous around membership of the committees for staff, and I will say I left that purposeful because if we were to pass this, the next question would be, or next direction rather, would be for Karen to come up with a plan for what that looks like and present it to us. We can play in that space if you want to, and I had all sorts of thoughts about what that could look like, should look like, applications, no applications. But at the end of the day, I sort of had to take a step back and say, if you're turning it over to the staff, we should let them create the process that works for them. You may not agree with it, and you, as the collective, you may not agree with it. That's just where I landed. I also have a lot of thoughts on it.
I mean, I included board members when we hired the fire chief and the police chief, thank you. Normally, that does not occur. Normally, when people hire within their department, my department heads do that themselves. If I'm hiring a department head, generally, I do that myself, and that's not something I generally would include board members on. But because those contracts come to this board, I did include board members previously. So in terms of hiring, unless it's a contractual position, I wouldn't foresee including board members in that.
Okay, well, just listed hiring committees
Sure.
on here.
And I just wanted to
that we
clarify
would
that.
create. But I would hope and again, this is Karen's call, but I would hope that if we were hiring a new recreation person, she might consider putting someone from the programming committee on the hiring committee.
And we've done that before.
Yeah, and again, that's not.
Actually, Adam and Taylor hired James, so that's what occurred
But
last time.
that could be another place where the committees play a role and where we have citizen input. That, to me, is really impactful in terms of selecting staff.
Yeah, and that occurred.
Yeah,
May I say something?
of course.
If and when we decide which and if we're going to have committees, I think there should be a board member and a staff member on each of them. Especially the staff member that Karen decides is gonna be paramount to that particular genre, you know? And I also wanna say that I'm not a professional board member. I'm just a guy. So
Yeah.
I will say things that just come to my head a lot of times.
That is what you're here for.
But I'm gonna try to do the best thing that I can.
Well, and I appreciate that you take feedback. And are not offended when people don't agree with you. I think that's our role. So I guess to round out this conversation, I would, and if you have more to say, I certainly.
Well, I was just gonna say, I don't like the name Township Programming Committee. It doesn't sound very cool.
It doesn't need to be cool, it's doing its job.
It is very
Because this is
higher ed student affairs, which is what I have my master's in, which is why it sounds that way. I'm very open to other thoughts about that. This is what I'm proposing. I would ask you to approve this on December 15th. I'm open to thoughts, I hear what you're saying, Kate. I think in the next iteration for the 15th, I'll put more reference to strategic planning and departments reporting out. Open to other thoughts. And at the end of the day, as I just said to Ray, you gotta get 3 people to agree with you to make something move forward. If 3 other people don't agree with this, that I won't lose any sleep, but I will look for this board to figure out what we're gonna do with committees then, because they just, this is not my opinion, no, it is my opinion, but it has also been an opinion that the boards or the committees have been telling us that they don't know what they should be doing. In this sense, we are providing an answer to that. It might not be the right answer, open to other answers.
The bottom line is, we have to do better,
We gotta do something, yeah,
Yep.
and that something should be better, I agree.
you know?
So that's my plan, is that I would bring this back with some of this feedback built in. Again, we can vote it up, we can vote it down. That's my
Basically, you're
intent.
trying to restart everything. You're gonna go back down to the groundwork and then reformat.
Restructure,
Yeah.
yeah. Yeah, and, maybe we, in the future, create other advisory committees that are of us. These committees have been around for decades, and I imagine at the time the board created them, they had a very specific purpose. When we created the Farmers Market Board, it had a very specific purpose. That purpose doesn't exactly exist anymore because we've embedded the farmer's market into the township government. So I just want to be clear, in this proposal, I am not saying our committees aren't important, I'm not saying citizen input isn't important. I'm actually arguing that it is more important than we're treating it right now, and this is the proposal to get us, so that people feel like they're being heard.
If I could, I would.
Let me say one last
Yep.
thing, and then you'll have the last say on this.
Okay.
If you have other thoughts, email, call, text me, I'm happy to build in those thoughts. I want to be very clear, I'm very open to your thoughts on this.
What
Take
I
us
was gonna
home.
offer to your previous point was, I think that's been the frustration of the Police and Fire Board. When they were created, they were helping to hire the chiefs. They were negotiating contracts. With the creation of the superintendent position, those things lie with me. So I think that there has been some frustration in that they were not negotiating contracts, they were not hiring for police and fire chiefs, but even, I think during strategic planning, I had mentioned that the board had directed me to approach them on input for the millage, and they refrained from doing that. So
They
it's.
politely declined.
Yeah, they politely declined. I mean, Joe Benzie was sitting here, and it felt very strongly that that should go to police and fire, and they, again, politely declined. But when, there's a specific issue that you ask for input on, and they will not or won't engage, that is frustrating, because you're saying, this is the need, please help us, and they said, no, thank you. So, I think it's time for the structure to change a little bit, and I think it will relieve some of their frustration, because I do think they were trying desperately to find a usefulness and a way to be helpful to the township. And I do think they probably felt really underappreciated, and I don't want that for them because they're all valuable and I like many of them that are on there and don't want them to feel that way. So I welcome the change. It's probably gonna take some fine tuning, but I'm willing to go through that process and I sense that you all are too, so,
Thank you.
thank you.
Again, feedback open, let me know, and we'll bring this up again in 2 weeks. I am going to take the privilege of the person leading the meeting to call a brief recess. If you notice, the big gulp has gone down to here. This is really a meter of my ability to lead you all. So we're just gonna take a little break real quick, and we'll come back in 5 minutes. Thank you.
Potty break.
Yeah, I have a mug at home like this, and it's got millimeter marks on it, and it's got hourly marks on it. Because my nephrologist says you should be drinking 2 liters of water a day, minimum. And so,
You get kidney stones if you don't.
well, guess what I peed out a couple of days ago? He says, didn't it hurt? I said, I'm still recording here. I got kidney stones.
Ouch.
Anyway, when you hear a plunk, what was that?
Rock.
That was it. Okay, I said it.
Well, you know, you don't get shy over anything, do you?
No, I don't.
Kate, I agree with you. The township programming is a weird name for,
It's not very cool. I'll
it's
just
not,
say
and
that.
it doesn't,
I know.
it doesn't speak for what it
But that's what
is.
James is doing, he's doing the programming for the senior
That's
center,
what he
the
is.
township, I mean, that's.
Yeah,
All the events,
Yeah.
everything.
I mean, that is exactly what those,
but you could call it senior and rec programming.
no,
That-
that's too long, it's township programming.
I would just recommend, hold off on that conversation and recess right now.
Oh, true. Sorry.
Oh, that's right, because there's more than 3 of us. Or more than 2 of us. Thank you, Lizzie.
Sorry, but.
Hey, that's why you get the big bucks.
Sometimes people are like, is she even paying attention? I am.
That's why she's here.
You just throw
Are,
that.
are,
Try to let you do what you're doing.
are stones
throw that
okay?
hat in whenever you need to.
Stones are okay to talk about, I
These
guess.
stones are okay.
Stones are okay.
I know, but I thought you guys heard you say post, so.
True. Stones aren't township business, now you know.
I'm done breathing, I am.
What is the temperature?
It's set at 74, but it was like 72.
It lies.
No way.
In no way.
There's no way.
I'll bring my own thermometer.
I'm comfortable, so.
Hot bod.
That means it's cold.
Right here, it's about 65 degrees.
Yeah, 65, 65.
If we're all ready to go, I'll recall us back to order.
I should ask you.
I am ready to go, yes.
You just went, so.
I also, in my break time, had a thought that I wanted to share with Kate, but with all of you. One of the things that we have built into the budget is for all of us to go to the MTA conference. I wonder if that's a good place to get some ideas on citizen input, committee structure, things like that from other communities. It seems like folks have solved this problem elsewhere. And if we all do attend that conference, we might gain some of that insight.
When is that?
When
Is that
will-
in
April.
April, okay.
Excuse me?
April,
April,
Don't know the dates.
the month of 2026.
hey, that's when trout season opens, I'll be gone.
I can tell you dates.
I will ask Karen to share those dates with us. It's in Traverse City, I believe, at the Grand Traverse Resort. I've gone to it once. It is a very fun conference. You do learn a lot. You also meet a lot of the vendors that our township uses. You know, we vote on these contracts but never see real people. You actually get to meet people. Anyway, we don't need to get off, but that did come to me.
I believe it's April 20th through the 24th.
Will you be there, Lizzie?
Yes.
Probably teaching.
20 through 24.
I believe it's that week.
I think you're right.
The reason I wanted to
That's
comment
usually
is
what I-
that if this topic is of importance to you, it is likely important to others, and to my knowledge, MTA has not yet selected all of the courses that will be offered. So I would suggest that in the next couple of days, like with some urgency, because usually they make that decision in December, send a note to Shelley Cardenas or anybody who you contact at MTA, because they may still yet be able to find someone if that isn't something that's up already. Because as the clerk noted, it is April 20 will be the pre-conference day, which is a Monday, and then April 21 and 22 are going to be the really substantive days of content. They are full day offerings.
She knows the dates.
She's looking at her calendar right now.
I'm usually teaching at least once every day.
Do they not do a RFP for presenters? They choose all of the presenters themselves?
They put the presenter, so with, at least with my experience on behalf of the firm is that they know that we're a strong partner. They reach out to us, they reach out to Maynard Costerison and other trusted vendors who are active to say, what ideas do you have that you can offer speakers or contacts for? So for instance, you know, I might say, like last year, Rod Taylor and I pitched an idea together to talk about pension issues with MERS, because we know it's something that a lot of townships were dealing with. We have partnered with like planning consultants to talk about planning issues from the legal and the planning side. So I don't know who else beyond the vendors that they communicate with. I do know that MTA still has a good group of their own folks that are teaching it during those times as well. So I would, like I said, urge, I didn't see the email yet today, but I expect it will be coming soon to notify us of the, what felt like 57 offerings we gave them, they will take.
Can I ask, do you think it's gonna start then officially on the 21st, Monday?
I know with certainty that they do their opening session in the morning on Tuesday of conference.
Tuesday, so that's the 22nd, or the 20th.
Monday is that they will be, usually there are
21st.
three different types of pre-conference activities. One is usually for assessors or something related. Another is the Legal Institute, which is not limited to lawyers, so if you want to come and learn some things from that, you can. Last time they also did like a Maynard Costerison, Bethany, who you all know, and Rod did a full day on finance-related stuff that I don't speak. So that Monday is reserved for pre-conference activities like that. They are full-day sessions. If you have to sign up separately from the conference, but they are open to whomever. And then a lot of vendors will offer some sort of event, like try to do some kind of a dinner or something just to say thank you and get to see people when you're not paying us. It's a nice thing to not send you a bill for hanging out.
Networking is what we call it officially.
And then usually the last substantive session ends, I seem to get those a lot, so usually it's like a 2 o'clock-ish to just before 4 on Wednesday, followed by usually one of the dinners again, and then there are chapter and other related meetings of the board and such on Thursday, and I should let you explain all of that.
You
because
did
used to
wonderful.
work at MTA.
You did wonderful.
Just feel like I lived there during that week.
Yeah, I mean, you got that down to the minute. That was impressive.
That was beautiful. I thought they paid her to say that.
And the last thing I'll say is that in my experience, going with other board members allows you to get to know each other better and form a better team. Again, not breaking Open Meetings Act and talking about township business, but just, you know, getting to know each other has been a helpful way for us to be able to work together in the future. All right, back to the agenda, if you will. We have the 2026 meeting schedule. We have Deputy Superintendent Reeves Hodge here, live in person.
Hello, thank you.
Thank you. So yes, I provide this document to you all each year around this time. At the suggestion of the supervisor, I only included statutory committees while you all decide on what you will be doing with advisory committees. So the board meetings are on there for you all for 2026, as well as the statutory committee schedules. Those have gone to the statutory committees, so they have seen those.
And they approved the dates?
Correct.
What happens on the conflict dates?
So typically, so I'm assuming that you're referring to like the zoning appeals having a conflict date
Or
with
the
us.
planning commission.
Yeah, so if there is a conflict, usually that committee will reschedule their meeting or cancel. If it's like zoning board of appeals, they may not have anything to discuss anyways, so they may be canceling already. If it were planning, they may move to, like the next day or, the following week if that's available. Okay.
In regards to April 20th, do you think we'll have a meeting on the April 20th if we're all supposed to be in Traverse City on the 21st?
So we'll approve that for right now, and then you all can make a decision about that as you get closer. If you would like to cancel or reschedule that meeting is typically how we handle, things like that, as well as like the night before elections, we cancel those at a later date.
I wanted to say that out loud, so maybe Ryan would like jot it down.
Listen, the last time we had to be at a training and had a meeting, Karen and I drove to Bel Air, back from Bel Air, picked up Lizzie, back to Bel Air after the meeting. We survived.
You hit the drive-through at McDonald's or what?
Starbucks, actually.
Good old caffeine.
So, you are looking for discussion on this next week, or excuse me, in 2 weeks, you want us to vote on this?
Correct.
Should we not adopt the proposal for committees, could you, on the 15th, also have a backup schedule for those committees?
I will just keep it on the same day and time that they
Yeah.
currently have, and then if they wish to change that after the new year, they can of course
I think that's a
vote to do
good
so.
plan. Then if the board decides not to go forward, we're not in limbo come January, because that'll be most likely our last meeting.
Yes, I can do that.
Thank you. Any other questions, thoughts?
Do we need to have an extra meeting in December for budget stuff like we have in the past?
We don't know yet.
Yeah, typically
Oh.
we schedule that at a later date, as we get closer to the end of the year and the superintendent is looking at the financials, and if we feel that we need to schedule an additional meeting for budget amendments.
Special meeting?
Yes.
Okay. Thanks, Taylor.
Yes, thank you. That brings us to item 14, large B items for action, small a, acceptance of the revitalization and placemaking program public space subgrant from the superintendent, and there is no attachment.
There is not. I'm happy to report that the planner has forwarded to me a grant agreement for the MEDC, so the Revitalization and Placemaking Grant Program, which was the RAP grant that we applied for, which would help with street lighting and other amenities along Webster Road. We unfortunately waited a very long time for the news to come through that LEAP had been awarded, and then even longer for the grant agreement to come through. But I'm happy to report we are receiving that because we already spent the money that we had set aside for Webster Road, and this will be, in fact, a reimbursement of the expenses that we have already expended, which were pre-approved and we had planned for. So we received $250,000. And I am asking for the board to accept the grant and then authorize me to execute the grant agreement, which would be to sign that and make sure that we report as we are supposed to and obtain our money.
And the backdating is allowed?
It is. We worked very closely, Miles, Beth, and I worked very closely with the road commission to ensure that that is what could happen and would occur, and we have done everything to the letter. So we didn't want to jeopardize anything, and installed everything as we had planned, including the split rail fence, the wall, and all the improvements. I do think the one thing that we will work through and most likely will happen in the spring will be the street lights. But we will work through that. It's just the timing, because of the grant has been late, but we've already expended enough to receive this money, and then we'll be able to deal with the streetlights in the spring. I'm very pleased.
Yeah, that's great. Questions or thoughts?
I swear Miles and I looked at streetlights 2 years ago.
You did. You did. And we have not stopped coordinating with consumers. I think it's an ongoing thing, almost weekly. And so it is a lot of work, but we are there, and we'll be able to get those installed in the spring.
And there's some fencing, is that part of it?
Yeah, so
okay.
along,
wooden fencing.
south of Drumheller, there's a split rail fence, there to help with, the drop off over there. And then there's some guardrail there as well. But what may happen, this winter is because there was supposed to be some lighting for the safety of that little non-motorized path, I'll call it pathway. You may see some lighting in a doghouse, until we are able to, in the spring, then take that down and put in some of those lower street lights that we had talked about.
I thought I had heard that we were gonna get an upgrade to the fencing.
We will, but that fencing is part of the grant. That is
Oh,
what we
okay.
said we would put there and needs to stay there until we have that funding
Right. Oh,
secured.
okay.
And then we can change the fencing out.
Okay, got it.
Yep. So,
I
and
thought
you
it
may
was
see
working the other way around.
some lighting work, the same way,
Isn't that the most
temporarily.
government thing you've ever
Right.
heard?
Yeah, put some temporary stuff in and then you get the money, then you put the good stuff in.
Yeah.
Can I have the fencing after we take it down?
Let's go back to conflicts of interest item.
Can we, make a motion?
I was like, that's gonna sound
Yeah.
sassy, and I'm gonna say no.
Go ahead.
Yeah, yeah.
Oh, that's
Staff likes to think these things through. They've got a plan.
Excellent.
Reuse the stuff.
Reuse it. So, as I said, the only thing that not the only thing, but, I would be, appreciative if you would accept the grant and then authorize me to execute the agreement. I know you don't like the word execute, but
Yeah, she's got it written down, so we're gonna let her
I
do it.
did, I kinda
I'm
cried.
waiting for him to say, is there a motion?
Is
I
there a
think Ray
motion
made
on the
it.
floor?
Oh, maybe I better turn this on.
Yeah.
I'll make a motion to accept the MEDC revitalization and placemaking grant program and authorize the superintendent to sign off on it.
I'll second that.
We have a motion and a second. Is there any other discussion? I'd just say congratulations, Karen, to you and whoever else was
Staff.
involved in the writing of this.
Miles, Beth.
Miles and Beth
is-
and their team did a fantastic job.
This is the stuff that we want to see and continue. So appreciate that effort. Any other discussion? All right, hearing none, we will do a roll call vote.
Mr. Kotke?
Yes.
Ms. Wilson?
Yes.
Mr. Funes Bliss?
Yes.
Ms. Butler Challenger, yes. Ms. Hagerman?
Yes.
Ms. Kellerman?
Yes.
Thank you.
You started with me, it scared me.
That motion passes, again, thanks to the staff on that. That brings us to the end of our meeting. We've got a couple other things left. 15 is superintendent's report. Take it
Thank
away.
you. I appreciate the dialogue tonight. This is always very helpful to myself and to staff in helping us plan how to implement and carry out the direction of this board. Thank you for your input on the budget this evening. We will continue to fine tune that. Benefits will fine tune prior to the next meeting and the adoption of that. As the clerk always reminds me, there is a lot to approve that night. There are a lot of resolutions. There's a PA 152 resolution that legal always appreciates us adopting for healthcare. So there's a lot of business to be done that night, and I know it's a lot, but it is for the health of our community, and I appreciate the participation and the cooperation of you all in that manner. As I mentioned earlier tonight, the road commission notified the planner this last week, who then notified me that we have received an additional amount from the Tri-County Planning, is it Tri-County Planning, Beth, Association? For a non-motorized pathway along the Chandler Road corridor. We received additional money for that, and then some additional money for the Park Lake non-motorized along the road. So we will be, as staff, working to bring those here if we need to. We'll be working with the road commission. And there are some very specific guidelines that we need to make sure we adhere to in terms of easements and properties, that we will work as staff to also follow their guidelines, because it can put your money in jeopardy. So we will work very closely with them. We were notified recently that Mark Trotter is leaving us to go.
Again?
Yeah, he is
Did he
again,
try that
for
already?
the betterment of his family. He's gonna be working with a consulting firm that we will continue to work with through the road commission. So we are very fortunate to be able to have him be able to stay working with us on projects. He is a tremendous asset to the road commission and to us, and I if he has to leave the road commission, at least he's not leaving us entirely, so.
Do you-
And then I joked and said, maybe the third time we hire him, it'll stick, because that would be great. He's a
Do you
great
know
guy.
who he's going with?
I can't remember the name of the firm, but it's somebody that we already work with,
So it's
so
not
that's,
Spicer?
it's good. No, it's not Spicer. It's
Angie
like
or-
Lehman, or, yeah, we'll report back, but he's not going far, but he'll still be able to, he'll work with us still. And then,
Could I just?
yes, please.
This is so great that you're getting more money from all these
Mm-hmm.
places. If there's more money on the table from MEDC, I would say strike now. I don't know that that agency will exist for very much longer. So let's get all the money we can while they do exist.
I will pass that along to staff. That's a great thing for us to know and to be able to work through, so,
I have a question.
yeah, please.
This, we talked about some loan that they, or grant that they gave us 3 million to do that sewer through the, I think I'm pointing the right way, the 40 acres for development when Norm Fasteners was going through there. Is there any way we could do that so that would be ready when and if we get a nice big project?
So we have actually, Jennifer, the treasurer, and I have been working with our bonding firm and bond counsel to talk about the sewer projects, because we do in fact need additional money for Chandler Road.
Right.
The project there, as Senator Singh spoke to the last time we were here, we will see some additional money from the road commission, but it will not be in a specific project form, so it will be general road project work. So we had that conversation with them when they were here recently, so not specifically to Chandler Road in that project, but some cost share and the specific things that you can use it on, so.
Are you saying they're gonna be unwilling to use some of that new money for Chandler?
It's not for, it's not for sewer, it's for,
Roads.
Right, but if they use more money, we could use more of the 10 million for sewer.
They are still working through the cost of that, and we are likely to see that before our next meeting. So I will reserve, we're doing everything we can in good faith to work together. And I think that if they can do that, they will do that, but I can't tell you in what form or how much we will see that in. So stay tuned. I don't want you to think I'm saying it's not happening. I just don't know.
No, I just think
in
we
what
need to
format.
push on that.
We had the conversation, I had that conversation with Doug Steffen, the director of the road commission. And we're working through a lot right now on the Chandler project. So to say it's not happening is not fair. We are, all working on it. And that will come to this board, so you'll be able to see that. We are also working, obviously, on end-of-the-year budget amendments. We should know before the next board meeting if there should be any watch item lists that we need to come back and revisit. But I hope to have all the budget amendments wrapped up by the end of this year. But that may include me overestimating in some areas and then returning that money if it is not used. So I'm trying not to have a special meeting, because I know that's not how we like to plan things out and operate transparently. So I'm trying to prevent us from having to have a special meeting at the end of the year for 10 minutes. But I will do so if necessary. So, and I appreciate everybody's willingness to do that with me. There's just a lot going on. We will continue with the implementation of the personnel policy. We will continue on with our implementation of the insurance changes. Legal counsel and I will continue negotiations. As she mentioned earlier, we're near the end of the meetings in the agreement with the road patrol union. Next, we will work with the supervisory union, which is 2 members on their items. So, and those will come to you for the end of the year. It may be that they get introduced on the 15th and then approved by this board your first meeting in January. We're trying to finesse all of that because we're trying to also work with legal's schedule and her availability to be here as well. So we will do that probably with the effective date of a January 1st, so it might be retroactive.
So you just back pay them?
It will certainly be a January 1st
Yeah.
effective date. That's the
Yep.
term that has, again, tentatively, I don't want to say it is tentatively agreed because we're still just sort of
Mhm.
compiling everything, but I'm sorry for stepping.
No, you're fine.
But
I'm happy to have you help.
We had a lot of really good conversation. Now
Mhm.
it's just about making sure it's all written down the way the parties intended it.
Mhm.
But the intention is that everything would be effective January 1.
Mhm.
It certainly is likely that you will have it for actual action after January 1, but this is a very traditional thing that happens with police and fire in general. You get to the end and that's when everybody's like, oh, we gotta get this done. So, but I would say.
Every union negotiation is
But
that
I
way.
would genuinely say, again, kudos to that bargaining unit for the work they put in to try to meet the township where we were. Nobody got everything they asked for, so it's a success. I think there was some responsible decision-making being made by the bargaining unit and the township to try to respect the revenue situation that you have and the expenditures while still ensuring a really strong place to work and still being a lodestar when it comes to a lot of things for the department as a whole.
Do they have contract deadlines for those two contracts?
They expire at the end of this year, so
Okay.
December 31st
So it is-
of this year. So, yep. So having the new ones take effect January 1st is pertinent. I would offer that this was the first time that legal counsel joined me at the table. Previous to these, the last contract that's currently in effect, I negotiated with the union directly, and there was no legal counsel and no union representative. And times have changed, but I will tell you that it worked really well. I have a tremendous amount of respect for Scott that represents the union and the way that legal counsel works with them. It's a very open dialogue. We putting things on the table and working together really well. It took I think it was 2 meetings, a lot of email. But we got there really quickly, and I really appreciate that. We did a lot of cleanup. Unfortunately, over the years, previous superintendents, previous union representatives, you borrow things from other communities, and it comes in, and sometimes it's missing references, or it doesn't quite just make sense. You've borrowed the wording from somewhere else. Sometimes chapters and grow and they don't quite make sense. Why is this here and not there? So we did a lot of cleanup, and I have to tell you that legal counsel is really excited about that cleanup.
Obnoxiously.
Obnoxiously, like she was excited just to put together a table of contents. So we have fun, but we also get the job done on their behalf. So I'm pleased with where we're at as we head into the end of this year. It's been stressful. But it's been very rewarding, and I have a tremendous staff, and I'm really proud of each and every one of them, and I'm proud of the work that you've all done to get us to this place as you make deliberate decisions on the strategic plan and all the plans that come together and the projects and the decisions you make about committees. I appreciate the dialogue, so I appreciate all of you, and if you have any questions, I will of course answer them.
I have one for you after the meeting.
Sure.
Is there any update on the potential progress for the gas station that's supposed to go in here?
I think we were holding out hope that they would still start the project this year. I think it might be some economic issues, but I think that they're
Excuse me.
scheduled for the.
Yeah.
Oh, Eagle.
It's the
Okay.
state, they're having problems with the state of
Yeah.
kind of butting heads.
Okay, so I take that back, it's Eagle.
I didn't quite, I didn't
But I
know
think
about
you'll
that.
see that move forward in the spring.
Okay.
I think the intention was that they wanted to break ground this fall and be further along, so.
I thought I saw some survey stakes out there, but I look every day when I go.
Yeah.
Hope.
That's it.
Thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome.
Any other questions for Superintendent? All right, hearing
Thank you.
none, we will move to item 16, Public Statement 2. This is a second opportunity for members of the public to take 3 minutes on any topic to share with the board. Is there anybody who'd like to speak? Please step up to the lectern, introduce yourself, and have at it.
Beth Bakke, assessor, employee, Angle Road, resident. A couple of things that came to light today was communication is key to success, but also good communication is a bridge between confusion and clarity. So there's a lot of things that sometimes come before this board and then doesn't actually get brought back to our staff. Kate, I appreciate the questions that you ask, because sometimes the questions that you ask are questions that we wish we could ask as employees sitting in your seat. We don't always get to ask those questions, and that information doesn't always get back to us either when we're actually sitting in our seats. a lot of times, we don't want to take the time to come back and listen to a board meeting, but a lot of times, that's the only time we get information. So there's a lack of miscommunication, lack of communication coming back to employees. When things are brought to you and they're going to affect our pay, you know, we have employees that are living paycheck to paycheck, that are paying for daycare. They've just bought a new house. They are paying for new cars that they have. So all the things that are going to affect our pay don't affect everybody the same way. Everybody walks in different shoes. So I know that you guys have tough things that you're actually handling right now as you're going through budgets, but they're going to affect everybody differently. So as you're taking these things on, the sooner you can communicate that back to all of our employees, the more likelihood we're going to have for retention, and the more likelihood we're going to keep our employees. So when it hits everybody differently, think about that. Think about when you first started getting a house, or you first got your new car, or when you were paying for daycare, and when you were living paycheck to paycheck for yourself. You know, I'm you know, not in that shoe right now, but I was in that shoe before, in the past. And so, you know, that might not feel like that's going to affect you, but it will affect some of our employees. As those benefits keep dropping, yeah, I heard, like when I listened to the board meeting, how's it going to affect our employees? As one person said, oh, but we changed our benefits for our retirement before. Are we going to retain all of our employees when we start dropping our benefits? We have a great team right now. And maybe it may make a concern, will we have a great team later on as those benefits change? And we'll, you know, so later on, what's it going to happen? And as we have to go and we have to hire new staff and retrain people, what's that going to cost our township? Thank you.
Thanks, Beth. That is the entirety of our public statement, or our public rather. So we'll move on to board member comments. Number 17, and it is Sherry's turn to start.
Thank you, Beth. I think that's very relevant to communication is key to everything, I think. Thank you.
Thanks, Sherry. Ray?
Very informative and exasperating at the same time, the meeting. But it was good. It was good. I think it was good. And that's about all I have to say. Sometimes I just go out and say things that I think, you know, deep inside. And that's important because I am a citizen as well. But anyway, that's why you hear what you do sometimes. I don't do it to hurt anybody. I don't do it to fault anybody. I just make statements that are, in my mind, true. And hopefully suggestive. So anyway, you will not ever get rid of my prattling.
Good.
Jen?
The only thing I have to say is your winter tax bills have gone out or will be going out this week from the printer. So if you do not get them, probably around the 15th, that is when to call us and let us know you never received it.
Oh, we'll call you.
Yeah.
And
First
for those
call.
that haven't paid their summer taxes, you can still do that.
You really should still do that.
She's talking to me.
Thanks, Jen. I've got a couple of things. Thanks to the board who's completed Karen's review. I'll start to compile that and we'll figure out how we share that with Karen. Probably be on the agenda for next meeting. I appreciate the board's conversation and discussion. And as Beth said, we've had to tackle some really tough things. We're not done with that. We really are tackling problems that should have been tackled long ago and that have been going on far too long, and our budget and our systems and our structures need to be changed. So I appreciate that you all are along for the ride on that with me. And I do want to thank staff for the dealing with all the changes. I understand how much upheaval it is and appreciate that they are so committed to our community, and I hope they do stick with us. I hope they've seen we've tried to show as much thanks both in spirit and in money and benefits as we possibly can, because our staff is great. I think Beth is right. We've got a really great team right now, and we want to keep them. And last, I received an email from my undergraduate advisor a couple of weeks ago that said, I'm teaching a course on crisis communication this semester. Could you come in and talk about what happened in Bath? And so last week I went up to my alma mater. You all know I love Central, and my degree is in public relations, and I spoke to the crisis communication class about what we did for our crisis, what we did that I thought was great, and where I think we messed up, and lessons learned, and they had really good questions for me, and I was actually very proud to be able to say how well I think we handled it, both like the actual disaster, the emergency, and then the communication process afterwards. So it was fun to be able to share those lessons learned with students.
Cool. Unfortunate we had to learn it that way. But
Yes, I agree.
Very.
And maybe that's a presentation that MTA should be doing, is crisis communication.
Yeah.
We learned a lot. And I really appreciated the gentleman said, you know, the plane crashed on Thursday and it was gone from the community by Monday. It felt like that was like 5 years and 5 days, but it really, like, you know, I think what he said was just so poignant to me that like we collectively as a community did it, and I'm just incredibly proud of all of us and the staff.
Thank you for you two, because you guys were the ones that literally spent the time there, you know, to help.
We learned a lot about planes.
Yeah.
I just want to thank everybody. I think we had a really good discussion tonight.
Yeah. Thanks, Brenda. Okay.
Last Tuesday, Ray and I went up to the Clinton County Officers Association.
Thank you.
And I took a lot of notes. But some of the highlights were that they set the meeting dates for 2026. So January 20th, there's a meeting at the Transit Building.
Is that the Blue Bus building?
I believe so, yes. April 21st, we're going to host the meeting here in Bath.
But we're not gonna be here April 21st.
Oh, you're right.
I think when you
In
volunteer.
all fairness, I did not know that
Well
at the
played,
time
Kate.
that committed us to that. So,
I imagine some of those people will also be at
gonna
the conference,
have
though.
to email Trish. Maybe they would just consider changing the date
Yeah.
on that, but. I felt it was sort of important to host here in Bath. I've been to 3 of these meetings now, and at all 3 of them, the sentiment sort of seems to be that we are other in the county. And that's been made very clear, without hesitation. Throwing shade might be the appropriate term
Yes.
to use. And I don't think it's fair, and Ray did defend, I think, us in a very professional and not sidebar type manner, as he's wanted to do. But I think it's important to try and maybe change some of the perspective that the rest of the county has about us here in Bath Township. Part of what was communicated was we need to watch out for who's being elected because we want local control. And I think Ray very wisely said, hey, we're entirely elected as Democrats in Bath Township, and we also value local control.
They were speaking in regards to the solar.
Among other things.
Among other things.
I think that sentiment has been shared at every meeting.
Yeah, Kate and I were at a meeting where that was shared too.
Yeah, so I do think it's important that they see us as real people with probably all of the same problems and issues that they have in their communities as well.
And partners with many of them.
Yeah. So that's why I thought it would be nice to invite them to Bath. Then the September is going to be in Riley Township, and then again in November is back at the Road Commission.
What are the days for those?
September 22nd, and then November 10th. And it was well enough attended that we had a quorum to actually do some stuff.
Oh, that's great.
Yeah. One they do the reporting out from each group, and the Clinton County Board of Commissioners was represented in the reporting out by Brian Hurticant. I believe he comes from the Eagle area. He's apparently a real fiscal guy. He spent a lot of time telling everybody about his experience with fiscal matters and budgets, and speaking of micromanaging, it sounds like he does a lot of that throughout the county budgets, was the impression that I got. And part of that was they voted on the contract to extend LEAP for the future, and it was a 3-3 vote, which meant that renewing failed. So they were having some discussions, but he shared that it was his opinion that the county was not getting the value for the $100,000 that they put into work with LEAP. There were some representatives from Bingham Township who expressed their serious concern about that and how instrumental LEAP was in getting the cheese plant up there, and reminded Mr. Hurticant that he was not on the commission at that time, so probably wasn't aware of how important LEAP was as part of that process, and strongly recommended that they reconsider. But I think if people in Bath Township feel that way, then it probably would be worth expressing that to the Board of Commissioners. I was kind of hoping Dwight would be here so I could ask him about it as well.
He's out of town.
But maybe next time.
So 3-3, there's more than 6 members of the board.
There was
The
one
seventh
missing,
person
one missing.
wasn't able to
Oh.
vote, that whoever the chair, I think he said the chair of the committee couldn't vote or something along those lines.
Oh, that's right. He said that the chair of the committee cannot vote.
Right, so 3
so it
to
was
3
6 to
was a
6.
fail.
Chair of the
Or
county
3 to 3.
commission?
I think it was a subcommittee
It
or
was a subcommittee,
finance
yeah.
committee,
Oh,
maybe.
okay.
I'd never heard that. The chairman of a committee couldn't vote.
Must be because he wasn't an actual elected
Lizzie, do you
official.
want
Maybe, I don't know.
Because it's Clinton County's Officers Association, right? Isn't, what is?
Well, he was sharing for the Board of Commissioners.
Oh,
So at the
okay.
county level,
Oh, okay.
Board of Commissioners.
Do you get the sense that that's a done deal?
No,
Oh,
I
okay.
did not. He said he was, and I think, it almost seemed like his position changed a little bit over the course of that meeting after he was getting some feedback.
From me?
But, well, from other
Bring
people
them
at the
in, yeah.
meeting. But he said he thought that if they maybe made a few changes to what the contract entailed. His opinion was he didn't think that they were getting their money's worth in Clinton County. I think the phrase he used was they're at the 30,000 feet view versus the catalyst who's at the ground level, in his opinion.
He could say enough positive things
Yeah.
about Catalyst.
The other thing I thought was kind of cool is the Clinton Transit, the Blue Bus people reported that they've started like a micro transit service in a couple places around the county. I believe it was maybe DeWitt and probably St. John's, where it almost works like an Uber, where you use the app and you need a ride and they take you and they wait for you and then bring you back for that same $1.50 price.
$1.50, they said.
I
couldn't
know,
believe
which
that.
they're piloting it in those areas now, but looking to expand into other areas. So hopefully Bath Township will be something they include. I mean, we have obviously a large population here who I think could benefit from that. But I thought that was a really cool thing that they had instituted.
Will they take my
and-
kid to work?
They probably
They
would,
probably
because
could.
I will tell you, they bring people to the senior center every Monday, Wednesday, Friday.
Yeah.
They
For me.
take
Bring 'em, drop
kids,
'em off, and take 'em
they
back.
take kids to their RESA classes, they take kids all over,
All right,
yeah.
I'm a convert.
Get the app. They're working on a regional connector between the Blue Bus and CATA. I know she talked about that when she was here before, but it sounds like that's underway. And she said that she would be coming around and visiting all the municipalities, as she has in the past. But I thought that was a pretty cool thing that they were doing. The other thing that I heard, that the same commissioner also mentioned that they had a presentation from Greenhaven, that there is a shortage of foster families in the county, and they were hoping that everybody would kind of share the word on that that's a great need in Clinton County, are qualified families to foster kids as needed. So I think that was kind of the gist. They did mention there was a guy there from
Yeah, what was that?
What was his name? I wrote it down someplace.
He was a lobbyist. for
Yeah,
Michigan-
lobbyist.
It was a Michigan,
I thought I wrote it down. Oh,
Michigan,
Tom Steinbus, the County Road Association. And basically, similarly to Senator Singh was explaining how some of these changes in road funding are going to work. One thing that he mentioned that I don't think I had heard from the senator was that these new funds from the marijuana tax, should it go through, are not actually paid by the sellers until the end of 2026. So it's at least a year out before any money comes in. How much that is and then how it gets distributed was still a lot of question marks. So it sounds like they're saying there's more money going in the roads, but from the road commission perspective, it was really up in the air as to how much money it was gonna be and when they were gonna get it, and then how they could spend it and what they could spend it on, so.
Well, aren't they in litigation because of
Well,
that?
yes, in addition to that.
Yeah, but there's
Even-
1.5 billion that's not tied up in that.
Okay.
That is going through.
So they used the phrase growing pains a few times to sort of describe this new process. Which, yes, there is some sort of way to get it into this neighborhood roads fund, but it still sounds like it's gonna be, I don't know, a process.
It's
to be
just
able to
like
get
the
some
most
money.
lobbyist thing to get $1.5 billion and still talk about how you need money.
yeah. Yeah. One thing Brian also mentioned is that, was that there are elections coming up for the Board of Commissioners. And he said, it's possible, quite possible, and he stressed this, and it was one of the reasons I made my comments about us being elected by the township voters, an all-Democratic board. I said, we are also, pro-control, lower control. There's a term for that, but anyway, local control, I believe is what it was. But he spent time on saying that the Board of Commissioners is always traditionally been red. And he said there's a real chance in this election that it could be blue. I mean, this is, he's up there campaigning.
I've heard, Kate and I were at a meeting where they said something very
And Kate and I
similar.
just, she leans over and she goes, do you feel that target on your back? I swear with you, only Democrats there. And anyway, at the end of the meeting, we go up to the board that runs the meeting, and the secretary, she stood up like this and she shook my hand. She said, I am so glad you got up and said something to him. She said, I'm a Democrat. I said, well, there's 3 of us here then. There must have been 30 people there, wasn't there?
Yeah,
County is
probably.
known to be mostly
Oh, yeah.
Republican.
I think the likelihood that the county commission will go blue in the next election is 0.
Exactly.
Absolutely 0.
Well, it precipitated around Bob Showers not running again, because he's not gonna run again.
Pour a little out for my homie.
Yeah. My sister's calling Bobby.
All right, anything
I'm
else?
not done.
Okay.
It's like, I'm not done.
I wanted to, just respond to what Beth had said about the importance of our employees here in the township, and I think public employees in general. As someone who's been a public employee for 25 years, I think the theme of my entire career has been eroding all of the benefits of being a public employee. When I started, I didn't have to pay anything into my pension, and now I do. I didn't have to pay anything for my health care, and that was the trade-off for taking a lower salary. And those things are all gone, and my salary hasn't gone up appreciably as a result. And I think that the argument of this is what everyone else is doing and doing that old way is outdated isn't necessarily enough of an argument for me to sway me to change the opinion that public employees have value. And I think it is worthwhile and it's worth our time and our money to employ people who know what they're doing. Because what I've seen in the education world is people with expertise retiring or moving on, and they cannot be replaced by anybody because those people just don't exist.
Yep.
Nobody's going to school to learn how to do these things anymore because there isn't value in it other than the intrinsic what you get in teaching. I don't know how much you get from that, working at the township. But I don't want to normalize that point of view. I want to be clear about that. I always support employees, if you haven't gotten that from me by now. And I think that that's important. I think that I want to live in a township where we have good people keeping things rolling, mostly behind the scenes, and we just go on about our lives. But I do think the knowledge and the expertise they have is worth something. And I think
Well spoken.
Thanks, Kate. That brings us to adjournment, number 18.
Motion to adjourn.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any discussion? Hearing none, we'll take a voice vote. All those in favor of adjournment, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed?